York's postseason win was reminiscent of October's past.
Poked it down the left field line. It is gone.
We couldn't have drawn it up any better. You know, we pitched well, we hit well, we were aggressive. Exactly what we needed here in game one.
Now, with a day's rest, the scrappy Twins are fired up to get back on the field. With the game ball in Blackburn's hands, Minnesota skipper remains composed.
He's pitching a lot of big games for us. He's a gamer. He gets out there and gets after it.
For the Twins, the pressure is mounting. It's the American League Division Series on TBS. Twins, Yankees Game 2, next.
We welcome you to New York and Yankee Stadium for our TBS coverage of our American League Division Series, presented by BlackBerry. Tonight, it's the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees meeting again in our best-of-5 game series as the Yankees try to protect their home field advantage tonight in Game 2 of the set. And good evening, everybody. Along with Ron Darling and Craig Sager, I'm Chip Carey. Welcome back to the Bronx. Yankees won 7-2 in Game 1. That makes it a perfect 5-for-5 for the Yankees against the Twins, Ron Darling, in this ballpark. What's ironic is Minnesota has led in each and every one of those games but hasn't been able to seal the deal. They've got to do it tonight or they're heading home 0-2.
Well, think about it. They're well rested and ready, but it's really not, the task is not monumental. All they really need is a well-pitched game from their starter. And they have a real good shot with Nick Blackburn, who was outstanding down the stretch. His last 27 and a third innings, he only gave up 5 earned runs. And even more importantly, on Saturday against Zach Greinke, who will probably be the Cy Young winner in the American League, he bested him, did not get the win, but got Minnesota to Game 163.
Yankees were thrilled with the way CC Sabathia debuted in playoff pinstripes for the Yankees, but now the attention is on A.J. Burnett making his first ever postseason start. What do you think A.J. Burnett's going to do tonight?
Well, I think he's going to do fine. 2 nights ago, CC winning really was best for A.J., but when you watch him pitch 8 times this year, he gave up 3 hits or less. He can be that dominating. 95 miles an hour. He has one of the 5 best sliders or slurves in the game. His only problem is occasionally when things go wrong and the crooked numbers start piling up, he can become very emotional. Those emotions he'll have to keep in check if he's going to give the Yankees a 2-0 lead.
And both starters pitching for the very first time in postseason play tonight, and it is a very big swing game. Game 2, Yankees and the Twins, coming up next from Yankee Stadium.
We weren't born to follow. Come on and get up off your knees. When life is a pill to swallow, you gotta hold on to what you believe. The MLB Division Series on TBS is presented by BlackBerry and brought to you in part by Nikon. Get closer with the Nikon Coolpix S630, L100, and P90 zoom cameras. By Travelers, Insurance in Sync, and by Prescription Flomax.
Just about set for Game 2 here in the Bronx, New York, and Yankee Stadium. Here's the weather up to the minute. Forecast is cloudy, a chance of rain in the Big Apple around midnight tonight. It's been a gray, misty day most of the afternoon, but the skies have cleared here in the last hour or so, and a very comfortable night for playoff baseball here at Yankee Stadium. Third member of our broadcast team is alongside tonight. Let's check in for the first time with Craig Sager. Craig?
When Joe Girardi wrote Jose Molina, A.J. Burnett's personal catcher in tonight's starting lineup, he referenced history and Greg Maddux with the Braves. Maddux preferred the backup, whether it was Charlie O'Brien, Eddie Perez, Paul Bacco, or Henry Blanco, to Javi Lopez. I talked to former Braves pitching coach Leo Mazzoni this afternoon, and he said that Maddux would develop such a rapport that O'Brien wouldn't have to even give signs. If he tossed the ball back to the mound and Maddux caught it by his chest, it was a changeup. If he caught it outside, you paint the outside corner. Across the body, you jam the hitter. If the glove was up, it was a fastball. If it was down, it was that nasty curve. Now, Burnett can have a Maddux-type performance tonight. The bat of Jorge Posada might not be needed. Chip, Ron?
Well, that better be a homer hanky in that pinstripe suit, I'll tell you that right now. I'm not sure partiality.
So that is the big story tonight, besides the fact that A.J. Burnett's making his postseason debut. Catchergate, some have called it here in New York. as Jose Molina gets the start behind the plate in Game 2 this evening. Denard Span is ready to go for the Minnesota Twins. And A.J. Burnett ready to go as well for the Yankees.
Well, Burnett, 13 wins this season. This is made 244 regular season starts before this, his first postseason starts. He gets best when people are on base. 226 average with runners in scoring position. And the great scouting report on A.J. Burnett is that he has a filthy slider, one of the best 5 in the games. He'll definitely have some butterflies. Hopefully he'll be able to use that to inch that fastball to 95 plus. Tempo is always the key to the way he pitches. That's why Jose Molina is doing the catching.
And he's quickly ahead of Denard Span with 2 strikes. And a little flare into shallow left field is going to be caught by Johnny Damon. And A.J. Burnett gets the Minnesota leadoff man on a soft fly ball to the Yankee left fielder. Here's the rest of the Minnesota lineup. Denard Span, of course, starting things off. He's in right field tonight with Orlando Cabrera batting second at short. Joe Mauer's behind the plate. Jason Kubel, tonight's designated hitter, with Michael Kadire at first. Delman Young in left. The new addition is Carlos Gomez playing center field. Ron Gardenhire likes his speed in the outfield with Matt Tolbert and Nick Punto hitting 8th and 9th. Here is Cabrera, and he's behind in the count as Molina rocked on that foul ball back behind the plate.
So Jose wanted to catch a postseason game. Is that what they said? As he catches that one right on the mask. There's Joe Girardi. Cabrera down and away. Oh no, got him right in the chest. It's a great thing as you watch the umpire dust off the plate, give Jose a little chance to come back, shake off the cobwebs.
And Chuck Merriweather, the man calling balls and strikes tonight in the Bronx. And Cabrera hits that ball to Derek Jeter at short. Here's the Yankee defense behind A.J. Burnett in Game 2 tonight, Ronnie.
Well, not a lot has changed. Damon, the 2-time All-Star, Cabrera and Swisher with a big hit to put them ahead yesterday. Rodriguez, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira count the Gold Gloves in that infield. And of course, Jose Molina wearing the tools of ignorance tonight here in the Bronx.
Something about which the next hitter for Minnesota knows. That's Joe Mauer. He's the batting champion in the American League this year. 2 for 4 in Game 1 of this series. And talking with Ron Gardenhire before the game, he said that of all the Twins players, Joe Mauer may be the man who benefited most from yesterday's much-needed off day.
Well, coming down the stretch, he kept going to Gardenhire and saying, Skip, I'm in there today, including the doubleheader that he caught in Detroit, which it's unheard of now for a catcher to catch a doubleheader.
Mauer had spectacular regular season numbers, hit .365, 28 homers, 96 knocked in. Remember, he missed the first month of the season with injury. And the fans in Minnesota believe he is the MVP of the American League.
Well, to mention a guy from the upper Northwest, he reminds me of very much because of their quiet approach at the plate, not too many moving parts. John Olerud, a storied career in Toronto, played for the Mets. Just no rush in the way his approach is at the plate.
There's the slider, but it missed inside to Joe Mauer. And the count now 3 balls and a strike. A.J. Burnett got the first 2 rather easily here in the top of the first inning. And how long until those butterflies disappear for A.J. Burnett tonight?
I think after you get the first out, some of them go. After you get out the first inning, most of them go. And after that, it really is back to work.
And a 2-out walk puts Mauer aboard here in the top half of our first inning tonight. As this American League Division Series coverage on TBS, brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Here's the DH, Jason Kubel. Kubel hit 5th in Game 1, moves up to 4th behind Joe Mauer tonight.
So Rob Thompson there, the third base coach, motioning to his infielders and outfielders, positioning.
Ball 1.
See Molina already motioning up to Burnett, out to Burnett to keep that arm up, to keep that elbow up. He can sometimes drop that arm and get around the slider, and he'll just spin up there. Little sinker away.
Fastball right on by, evens up the count for Jason Kubel, one of 4 Twins that tallied more than 90 RBIs this year. That's the first time in history the Twins have had as many as 4 do it in the same season. Kubel led the way with 103 of them. And of course, Justin Morneau, injured, had 100. Popped up foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Joe Mauer 96, Michael Kadire had 94.
You know, they had a real history of streaky kind of great players coming together for them, right? Killebrew and Oliva and Carew, Kirby Puckett, Herbeck, and those guys, and now Morneau and Mauer.
Wicked slider. And A.J. Burnett's first postseason inning was very impressive. Minnesota fails to score in the top half of the first inning, and now Nick Blackburn to the mound to face this lineup for skipper Joe Girardi. Derek Jeter had a terrific series opening game with Johnny Damon in left hitting second, Mark Teixeira at first hits third, Alex Rodriguez the cleanup man, Hideki Matsui the DH, Nick Swisher's in right, Robinson Cano at second, Melky Cabrera in center field bats eighth, and the catcher Jose Molina will bat ninth against 11-game winner Nick Blackburn of Minnesota.
Well, Blackburn has been outstanding, and even coming down the stretch when they won 17 out of 21, he was 2-0 and only 1 base on balls on that 27 and a third innings pitched. Talked to Ronnie Gardenhire about what Nick has to do to be effective against this team. He said he has to use all his pitches. The times he struggles is when he struggles with his relief, with his breaking pitches. He goes straight to the fastball and stays there. Look at the scouting report. Recent history in his start here in May, he gave up 4 runs in 7 2/3. Pitched much better than that. Has to pound the lefties in so they can get off his sinker and changeup and limit the damage against this Yankee team that takes pitches, tries to get deep in the count, and will try to bludgeon you at times. Limited to, they're going to score some runs. Limited to maybe solo home runs, or make sure that you pitch well with runners in scoring position.
Derek Jeter grounds up the middle is short. Cabrera to his left. And Derek Jeter is out number 1. You mentioned the runs for Blackburn. He allowed 4 of them to the Yankees here on May 16th. Did not factor in that decision, but went 7 innings and 2/3.
Well, here's the defense for the Twins. Delmon Young, Carlos Gomez gets the start in center field. Denard Span moves over to right. Tolbert Cabrera with 2 gold gloves, Punto and Kadire. And of course, Joe Mauer behind the plate. Carlos Gomez in center field. Go-Go Gomez, as they call, can go get them. Outstanding center fielder.
Johnny Damon takes a called strike. He was 1 for 4 in the series opening game. And if there's a danger spot, is that very short fence here at Yankee Stadium for the likes of Damon and Teixeira and Matsui.
And that's been Blackburn's Achilles heel all season long. Left-handers hitting 300 with 17 home runs. In that scouting report, he is going to have to throw strikes inside to all the left-handed hitters, whether it be Damon, Teixeira.
Popped up foul out of play to the right side off the bat of Johnny Damon.
And you probably say to yourself at home, well, wait a minute, the right field porch is closed. Why would you throw inside? Well, if you throw inside properly on the plate, on the inside part of the plate, they can't get their hands free to pull it over the fence. The pitch they'll hit is the middle of the plate away.
Popped up left side. Can anybody catch up to that? Young comes on and takes over in left. And Damon pops out for out number 2. MLB postseason en Espanol. Live MLB postseason Spanish language feed is available via SAP. So it's 2 up, 2 down for Mark Teixeira, the Yankee first baseman. And if there is a man who has destroyed Nick Blackburn, it is Mark Teixeira.
6 for 6 with a bomb, so he is seeing the ball well out of Blackburn's hand. Well, he hit this home run in May. And again, trying to come inside, misses his spot, down and away, long home run to right center field. And that had been through a point where Teixeira was really struggling. That got him going. That and, of course, the addition of number 13, Alex Rodriguez, to the lineup.
That would help almost anybody offensively.
Teixeira is a notorious slow starter. And you knew he was going to come around, but it helps to have that hitter behind you.
Tex hit 39 home runs this year, drove home 122 men. 30 of those 39 have come from this side of the plate. So another Yankee hitter tailor-made for that short right field porch. And the count even to him. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Nice pitch there by Blackburn. 2-1 count. Fastball situation for the hitter. He pulls the string with a little changeup.
And you're right, he is trying to get the ball on the inner half to these lefty hitters.
He's got to make them conscious the first 2 times through the lineup that he's going to pound them in. When he does that and they get sick and tired of him pounding them in, then he can go to his changeup and his little sinker away.
Blackburn's big man, 6 foot 4 inches tall, 227 pounds, born in Ada, Oklahoma, lives in Denton, Texas. And one of those really great stories you hear about all the time in baseball, a 29th round pick, and here he is pitching in a hugely important game in the playoffs. And he pops up Teixeira, center of the diamond. And that'll be handled right behind the second base bag, and Nick Blackburn, 1, 2, 3 and out for the Minnesota Twins as we head to the second inning. No score after 1 here at Yankee Stadium. Michael Kadire will lead things off against A.J. Burnett, who had a rather uneventful first inning, a 2-out walk to Joe Mauer. But then he struck out Jason Kubel to retire the side. And now Kadire, with 32 regular season home runs for Minnesota, starts things off in the second inning. One ball, no strikes to Kadire. 2 for 13 lifetime against A.J. Burnett. And it's even now at a ball and a strike.
Well, so far so good. When you watch A.J. Burnett, you want to see a nice tempo, a slower tempo than quicker tempo, and so far he has it.
What did Joe Girardi say about the style of pitching of A.J. Burnett in our pregame chat with him?
Well, it's a catch-22. He has such a full rotation in his body. That's what makes him deceptive. It also sometimes hurts his consistency, but when his tempo is correct and he starts repeating it and repeating it, that's when the hitters start sitting quickly.
Lined into right field, a 2-strike hit for Michael Kadire, the first of the game for the Minnesota Twins. And let's take a look at Yankee Stadium, courtesy of the PlayStation game MLB 09, The Show. Your impressions of this new Yankee ballpark?
Well, I'll tell you, it has the same dimensions almost to a point all around the ballpark. It has played a little smaller, of course, this season for those young people that love to play those video games. They're not all about the ground balls and the base hits. They're about the long ones. And they had them here this season.
As Delman Young bats and backs away from a breaking ball for a strike. Last year at Old Yankee Stadium, there were 160 home runs hit. In 2009 at New Yankee Stadium, 237.
Yeah. Quite a number.
0-2.
And last year in Old Yankee Stadium, 91 to right field, 140 this season. That is a big jump. But, you know, I was talking to Gardy about this before, and he said, you know, don't forget, they might play small now, and you're going to have to judge it over 2, 3, 4 years. But they got some pretty good hitters in that Yankee lineup and some powerful left-handers.
Another wicked slider takes care of Delman Young. That's the second strikeout for A.J. Burnett in this game.
Burnett will throw across his body, and you'll never see the ball, and then it just makes that left turn. And you'll see some silly swings from really good hitters because of that slider and how late it breaks.
So Young 0 for 5 so far in this division series. And that brings up Carlos Gomez. Gomez getting the starting assignment in center field for Minnesota, and as Ron Gardenhire told us, he is not afraid to swing the bat.
He does not like to get on. I wouldn't say he does not like to get on by the walk, but he wants to swing the bat. He gives them a lot of energy. He said he irritates the other team and sometimes irritates myself.
Little chopper hit toward Alex Rodriguez at third, but with the speed of Gomez, he wisely makes sure that ball trickles foul. Wouldn't have had a chance to get Gomez in this second inning.
You know, he plays at about 120 miles an hour, and if you had to equate it, I guess you'd equate it to maybe a basketball guard who could go up and down the court but would never knew who to dish it off to, or a wide receiver that could beat everybody down the field but couldn't catch the ball yet. He's really just learning his baseball skills, and he's had to learn them here at the major league level.
In fact, that's what Ron Gardenhire said of Gomez before tonight's ball game, saying, and I quote, "We've been trying to get him to calm down and him control the situations, and sometimes the situation controls him. But he's also one of those guys you just love because his enthusiasm for the game and how much fun he has." A runner goes from first, and the pitch grounded toward Jeter at short. And the throw to first is in time. Good stretch by Teixeira. Kadire at second. Twins run to stay out of a double play chance.
Well, we saw the Yankees do that last night with Jeter late in the game, and it's a good way to manage. Stay out of those double plays, although with Gomez certainly trying to steal that bat. Gomez very rarely going to hit into a double play with that type of speed.
So Minnesota with its first runners in scoring position opportunity in tonight's ball game. It comes with 2 outs, and it comes with Matt Tolbert, their third baseman, in the batter's box. And Ron, as we talked about when we saw Minnesota play the Yankees here in regular season play, and as we saw in game 1 of this series, this particular game situation has been a very big reason why the Twins are 0-5 in this ballpark this year.
Yeah, they have not hit with runners in scoring position in those 5 games. 5 for 47. That's certainly not going to get it done. But, you know, you have to give some of the credit to the pitching of the New York Yankees. But, you know, Gardy's team, especially this last month of the season, has been outstanding in those situations. So you think they'd be able to turn that upside down a little bit. But counter that with A.J. Burnett, who was outstanding this year. Best mark for a Yankee with runners in scoring position since Clemens.
Popped up left side over near that Twins dugout, and there will be no play. Well, despite those woeful scoring position numbers, the Twins have led every game head-to-head with the Yankees in this ballpark this year. They just haven't been able to hold that lead.
And it's not even hold the lead. The problem was manifested 2 nights ago. They got the 2-run lead, and immediately Jeter hits the 2-run home run. So they spent all this energy, blood and guts to get 2 across, and immediately, like in the 30 seconds, Jeter hit a 2-run home run, and they're even again. So that really has been the problem.
And that tells the tale. Little ground ball hit towards second, and A.J. Burnett strands Michael Kadire in the top half of a scoreless second inning. Big night for the Yankees in Game 1 of this series on Wednesday, but A-Rod certainly very happy to be productive with men on base for New York.
Well, I think this was the best hit right here with the base open at first base. They pitched to him. First pitch from Dunsing. He lines into left center field. And beautiful swing here to wait on that breaking ball to drive in the second run. Sometimes, when you think about it, Chip, it's supposed to familiarity breeds contempt. I think it might breed good things for Alex. 2004 against the Twins. Now we're talking about a different team, but he had 421 against the Twins in that ALDS. So maybe that's part of it too. But by the reaction, physical reaction that he showed when he got to first base, he was very excited about both those hits.
He's excited, but the rest of the American League isn't, because if he gets hot in postseason play, this already ferocious Yankee offense is going to be even more so for Joe Girardi's club. And that one popped up right side. Michael Kadire has a beat on that. A-Rod is retired. 4 up, 4 down so far for Nick Blackburn tonight.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. I think even more important about those hits last night, guys, is that he had a strikeout and a pop-up in the first 2 at-bats. So maybe some tension was starting to build or fester, and those 2 late hits really took that away.
Here's Hideki Matsui. 5th inning on Wednesday, Matsui launched one into Monument Park. Part of his 1 for 3 night, a couple of RBIs. And a quick strike from Nick Blackburn.
Well, the great thing about this at-bat by Matsui is that all season long he's been doing this against left-handed pitchers. Struggled in 2008 against left-handers. His legs seem to be much better under him. He's able to handle left-handed pitching, and that's great for the New York Yankees because you can keep him in there as DH against a righty or a lefty. 1 home run last year only in 108 at-bats, 2008. 13 in 131 at-bats this year. That is quite a difference.
This could be Matsui's final year as a Yankee. He's a free agent. Was asked, what does it mean to be a Yankee? And he had a great quote. You play to win, he said. The most important part is whether you won. As he takes a base on balls, first base runner of the night for New York.
Well, everyone does play to win, and he's so right, is that you're measured on the back of your baseball card by how many championships you have, and he's got some. You saw his fan club there, always very popular player, not only here, of course, but back in Japan.
And Matsui said he'd love to continue playing either in New York as the DH, but he has said he considers himself still an outfielder. He's taken care of his knees, he said, and he still wants to play in the outfield. We'll see whether he gets that chance for the Yankees next year. Here's Nick Swisher, man aboard with 1 out.
I would think that unless something radically changes as we watch Nick Swisher come up with Matsui's knees, I think he would be a part-time everyday player, maybe twice a week, and the rest of it DHing. You'd have to find that kind of fit, same one he has here with the Yankees.
And that's down and in with all the hoopla of Derek Jeter's homer and Matsui's homer. How about the big hit of the game brought to you by Hass Avocados, provided by Nick Swisher. His 4th inning double gave the Yankees the lead.
That was just a big hit by Nick. We asked him today. He's had a lot of highlights. He said that is one of the finest. Standing there, he said on second, he felt like a football player. He was so pumped up.
And a called strike over the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, Swisher really has brought a different element. His personality has changed the tone and tenor of that Yankee locker room, hasn't it?
He's a free spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he is. And you can have all the intangibles you want, and he does have those as being a free spirit. but you also got to bring some tangibles, and he certainly brings that with his home run swing and his ability to get on base.
And he works an even count, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I had some great intangibles late in my career, Jim.
And they were?
No, just a good teammate, good guy to have. I just had no tangibles left.
I see.
You know, the 3 and 12 just didn't work there at the end.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Matsui at first with 1 man out. And lined out of play. 29 home runs for Swisher, walked 97 times, drove in 82 men. Those are indeed very tangibles.
And remember, this is a player when he was with the White Sox was mainly a DH or played first base, so he hadn't played a lot of outfield in the last few seasons, was asked to do that, moved out to the outfield, and he's had a few adventures out there, but for the most part, his hustling play is enough to inspire you.
Strike 3, and Swisher is called out. That's the first strikeout for Nick Blackburn in this game.
Well, that was a nice sequence of pitches from Nick Blackburn. That's what he does best. Moves the ball around. He starts with a first pitch strike down the middle, tries to catch one inside, runs it back outside, gets the call, just misses down. One fouled off, and then this pitch up there, which is a beautiful pitch. He started about chest high, and that ball not only broke back over the plate, but also sunk back over the plate for Chuck Merriweather's liking.
So Swisher the second out here in the second inning. Robinson Cano is up, looking for his first hit of this division series.
So in those pitch by pitch sequence there by Nick Blackburn, 3 inside, 3 outside.
Which was
that's
your
how
point.
He has to pitch.
Well, he's looked good. Hasn't yet allowed a hit to the Yankees. As Cano looks at a knee-high strike. Cano doesn't have a hit against Blackburn in their head-to-head matchups. He's 0 for 8 lifetime. This is a very big swing game. If the Yankees win it, they head to Minnesota up 2-0. If they lose it, Minnesota takes away home field advantage. And a little dribbler back to the mound. Should be easy for Blackburn, and it is. Hideki Matsui walks and is stranded, and we head to the third inning scoreless. This American League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. And with my partner Ron Darling, Craig Sager, Chip Carey from Yankee Stadium. Hard to believe that neither A.J. Burnett nor Nick Blackburn have never pitched in postseason play before. They've both looked very good in the first 2 innings tonight. A.J. Burnett with a couple of strikeouts. He has walked a man. He has surrendered a Michael Kadire single. And he'll face Nick Punto to start off the Twins' third inning.
It's hard to really judge Nick Punto as a player if you're just going to go solely by numbers. He just gives you a lot of those skills that you don't always see. He's tough-nosed. There'll be double plays he'll turn at second base that other second baseman will do the Olay with and get out of the way. He'll make the defensive play that you need when you gotta have it. And he gets big hits. Gets the hits you need.
He made a marvelous play, excuse me, Ronnie, here on Wednesday night. This is just spectacular.
I mean, I don't know how he did it. I know how he got to the baseball, but I don't know how he threw it and had time to make an accurate throw. Almost like a gymnast out there.
Three balls and a strike. Yeah, they'd give him a perfect 10 on that particular play at second. That was very nice work for Nick Punto. Batting ninth tonight for Ron Gardenhire. Denard Span waiting next. Scoreless game, third inning. For more on Nick Punto, let's check in with Craig.
Well, Ron Gardenhire told me he's the second best athlete on the team. He said it would be the first. However, you have Joe Mauer, who's a high school player of the year in football, then the high school player of the year in baseball, and in between was all-state in basketball. He says Mauer's on a different planet.
Thank you, Craig. 3-2 pitch is high, ball 4. Leadoff walk for Nick Punto. And a good start for the Twins in this third inning of play. Denard Span's coming up. He flied softly to left in the first inning.
We asked Ron Gardenhire if he was thinking of running against Burnett tonight. He said he's going to have to see in the beginning if he's varying his motions, if he's taking his time to deliver the ball to the plate. Ron said they're going to do everything they can to try to manufacture runs tonight.
And you have said tempo and pacing are so important for A.J. Burnett in this ball game. How would you evaluate that with the base running game in mind?
Well, I think one of the things that A.J. Burnett, which happens to him, he will suffer sometimes when he's in the stretch with his control. We can see already Gardenhire with the bunt. There's third base coach Scott Alger giving him the signs, thinking of playing maybe a little small ball early, trying to get ahead.
Let's see what kind of lead Nick Punto's able to measure off at first base. Mark Teixeira holds him there.
Try to get in that green if you can. You know what you have to be aware of, though, and Punto will definitely be aware of that because he's that headsy kind of player. He's had most wild pitches in the majors. Burnett had 17 this season, tied with Felix Hernandez. So anything in the dirt, you have to think about advancing.
And a little tapper back to the mound. He'll go to second for one. Quick flip, and not in time. Jeter thought he got him. But Span beats the rap at first. He stands there with one man out.
Well, Jeter's smiling because Burnett not only throws the ball hard to the plate, he'll throw it hard to second, too. That had something on it. Handcuffed Derek just a slight bit, so he wasn't able to get enough on that throw. See how it gets in the breadbasket? And then not able to get enough on that throw to first base, but it looked like very close play to first.
So the bang-bang play doesn't go the Yankees' way, and another fast runner's aboard for the Twins, although with one out. And Orlando Cabrera in the batter's box. Cabrera, as you see, 2 for 6 in this postseason. And drives that ball well toward left. Johnny Damon drifting back on the track. And Span has to hustle back to first with 2 men out.
Well, the read by Span, he thought that was going to be over the head of Johnny Damon. What do you have to do if you go past the bag? You have to re-tag as you go past. Nice heads play. Well, not a heads up play by Span. That's one you have to do. And Cabrera, of course, aghast that that ball didn't make it over Damon's head. Usually in left field against Cabrera, they'll play a little shallower. But Johnny, because at this point in his career, plays a little deeper with all the hitters.
And it would seem a much easier weather night to play the outfield in New York. Remember, in Game 1, the wind was absolutely howling out toward right field. As Mauer looks at a strike. When we talked to Johnny Damon earlier this season, in the first couple of weeks at Yankee Stadium, he said left field's very tough here. The ball will sometimes knuckle on its way out to left field. But no trouble that time as Cabrera was retired on the track.
Well, it's a lot of pressure to put on a young player like Mauer, batting champion 3 out of 4 years. But I think that when he gets his hits in this series, and he had 2 in the first game, he's going to have to hit for some power. I think he's going to have to be that player if they are going to stay up with this Yankee powerhouse. He's going to have to come up with big hit after big hit in this series.
And at some point, Ron, they're going to have to cash in their opportunities with runners in scoring position. And if they get men on base, they got to do better than 0 for 6, which is their mark so far in their third at bat against A.J. Burnett.
The problem is A.J. Burnett has something to do about that, doesn't he, with that good stuff he has so far early in the game.
Strike three over the outside corner. A.J. Burnett pitches around a leadoff walk. No score as we head to the Yankees half of inning number 3 tonight, and visit TBS Hot Corner at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner to sign up and watch live companion coverage of this game and every MLB postseason game. Melky Cabrera starts things off, and Nick Blackburn starts him with a strike.
You know, Chip, I'll tell you, when Nick Blackburn was sitting on the bench and watching A.J. Burnett work, I'll tell you, for being a former starting pitcher, you sit on that bench and you go, you know what? I'm in for a barn burner. I'm going to have to match zeros with this guy until we can get to him. And you smell it right away. You just know the kind of game you've got going.
Pop fly foul. And the count to Cabrera, 1-2. We've said several times this is the first postseason game that Blackburn has pitched. However, he's pitched in hugely important games for this Minnesota club. How about game 163 against the White Sox?
Well, you know, I think the thing about Blackburn that's the most important is that on Saturday, you know, the White Sox game, of course, was 163 in 2008. Now Minnesota's played 2 of them. But I think a bigger game also, and most recent, is on Saturday. They were expected to lose. They were facing Zach Greinke, ERA champion, probably the Cy Young Award winner in the AL. That was supposed to be a loss. He matched him 0 for 0 until Greinke gave up 4 runs. And even though they came back to tie the Kansas City Royals with Kadyr's home run late, they're able to win that game. So that's a game that on the calendar you think is going to be a loss. They turned it into a win, and that was the difference to get the 163 this year.
Slap toward third. Tolbert in perfect position. And that's out number 1. Minnesota manager Ron Gardenhire says Nick Blackburn's off to a very good start, and here's why.
Yeah, he's using all of his pitches, and you know, he's got the hard sinker, and he's cutting it and then running it back. So he looks like he's going about it pretty good, throwing the ball well.
You were talking about reading A.J. Burnett. He seems to be on top of his game too.
Yeah, he's throwing it over with that nasty breaking ball, and he's able to throw it down towards the dirt to our left-handers. So yeah, we knew it was going to be a tough night, and you just got to keep battling, and hopefully we'll come through.
Lineup change for you tonight. Carlos Gomez in center field. Why, and what does he bring your club?
Well, we've mixed him in pretty much all year long, off and on. Right-handers have a little more success than left-handers here. Try him out there, especially defensively. That's our best defense out there in the outfield, and a little more speed. If we can get on base, maybe we steal some.
But that appears to be a challenge against A.J. Burnett, the way he's throwing so far tonight. And now the Yankee catcher Jose Molina bats for the first time in tonight's ball game. And if there has been a big story in these parts for the last 72 hours, it has been the fact that Jorge Posada is not starting in this game pitched by A.J. Burnett. Ground ball towards second. Easy pickup, and 2 men are out.
You know, Craig addressed it a little bit in the beginning, and a nice job of describing how pitchers are a different breed. They're a little quirky. And sometimes if they're 100% behind the wrong pitch, it's better than them being 50% behind the right pitch. So what happens with these catchers that become personal catchers? And AJ has said that it wasn't his choice. Jose said it wasn't his choice. I know it wasn't Jorge's choice, because now he'll have yesterday off, tonight's ball game off day on Saturday, and we'll play again on Sunday. But I think what happens is that a rapport happens between 2 people, the battery mates. And some are good and some are not so good. But as far as my inkling is concerned, Jorge Posada is royalty in baseball. And he's worked with some of the best pitchers that have ever played in this game in his generation. So I think for Joe Girardi to make that switch, he's got to feel, one, that it's the best thing for his ball club. But at the same time, it's a hard decision to make, because the last 79 postseason games have been started by Girardi.
Skied to straightaway center by Derek Jeter. And that'll do it for the Yankees in the third. Derek Jeter just missed another home run in this first round of the 2009 postseason. Still scoreless here at Yankee Stadium. Fourth inning now with Jason Kubel to start things off against A.J. Burnett.
Now, it's finishing up when Jeter almost hit that drive over the center field wall. I think I said Girardi's caught the last 78 out of the last 79 postseason games. Of course, that would be Jorge Posada. But I think if you compared it, Jorge Posada, to me, is a blue-collar worker from the steel mills of Pittsburgh, and A.J. Burnett would be a surfer from Malibu. So sometimes, you know, just the personalities maybe between Burnett and Molina have kind of meshed. They've made it work for each other. You can see it in the ERA. But don't take away that Posada's caught a lot of good games by Burnett also.
Kubel continues to rack up big strikeout numbers. He is 0 for 2 in this game. That's 4 strikeouts for A.J. Burnett, who's seemingly working well in tandem with his catcher, Jose Molina, and that's the opinion of his skipper, Joe Girardi.
Well, so far so good. AJ's throwing well, and so is Blackburn, and you know, we'll see who makes the better adjustments the second time through the lineup.
I think also, yeah, Blackburn, I think, looks very good. He's had the pitch, maybe not postseason games, but a lot of playoff-type atmosphere games for these guys down the stretch.
Yeah, I think last year the game against the White Sox where he lost 1-0, and then the Saturday in Minnesota where they had to beat Kansas City, he's thrown very well. So he's used to pitching in big games, and he's changing speeds, and he's changing location, and he's doing a good job.
Joe, as a former catcher, what does Joe Mauer's accomplishments, 3 batting titles in his young career, mean to you?
It's amazing. It's amazing what this young man has done, and I joked with you a little bit earlier today. I wish he was playing football.
So does Bobby Bowden. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Mauer was going to be a superstar athlete down at Florida State University, but signed with the Twins. And now the big question is, will Minnesota be able to afford to keep Joe Mauer, who could be a free agent after next season?
They will keep him. I mean, he's a St. Paul kid. You couldn't get a better citizen as the way he conducts himself off the field. He's one of the top 5 players in the game. I can keep going on and on and on. He's the kind of kid that you got to somehow find a way to keep around, because he is, to me, the face of the franchise, along with that man to his left, our right, Justin Morneau.
Delmon Young bats and gets popped with a pitch, and he will make his way to first base as A.J. Burnett hits Delmon Young with 2 outs. So Carlos Gomez bats with a man aboard in a scoreless 4th inning game.
Well, we talked about the wild pitches from Burnett, but also he has so much movement on his pitches that if you're a right-handed hitter and he drops down and loses the range of that fastball, it's going to come running into you, and Delmon Young paid the price.
Alex Rodriguez with the speedy Gomez in the batter's box creeps in on the grass over at third base. And Young measures off a short lead here in this 4th inning. The Twins, we've talked about how much they run. They managed just the 10th highest total of stolen bases in the American League. They stole 85 bags in the regular season. And they did that in 117 tries.
See that little thumb by Molina, the little flicking of the thumb up. That means the throw over to first base. It meant a different thing in my day. If the catcher were to give you that little thumb up, now he's giving the sign for the wiggle one. That's a sinker down and in. But in my day, when they used to use the thumb and flip it up, that used to mean to make sure that that batter in the box was put on his rear end, and they don't use that sign anymore. And Molina getting the signs from Tony Pena.
Young 2 for 7 this year in stolen base tries for Minnesota. Even count now for Gomez. And he gets hit inside. So back-to-back hit batsman chases Gomez to first. Twins have 2 on with 2 out. And Ron Gardenhire will come on and check on his center fielder. That ball was buzzing in on his hands.
Well, whenever you see a hitter get hit on the hands, it's such a vulnerable place for these guys to be hit. Small little tiny bones that can easily be broken. Got hit on the outside of the hand, right hand. See, that ball just darts in as he brings the bat down. It hits him right on the bottom of the hand. The only hope is that it caught enough of that fleshy part if you're at home and you feel the inside of your palm. If it catches enough of that fatty part on the outside, you got a shot. If it hits all bone, no chance. He's squeezing his hand pretty well, though. And I guess this is the inconsistency you'll sometimes get. A.J. Burnett will be rocking and rolling through a lineup, and the next thing you know, 2 hit batters. Where did it come from? That's the noise you never want to hear if you're a hitter.
So A.J. Burnett in regular season play hit 10 men. In his 33 regular season starts, he's hit 2 men in this 4th inning alone. And Matt Tolbert bats with 2 outs and 2 on for Minnesota. Again, runners in scoring position and men on base opportunities. Hot shot and into right field for a hit. Here comes Young around third. The throw behind and the tag applied before the run scores. What a play by Swisher. They throw behind Gomez. Young can't score before the tag, and we head to the bottom of the 4th.
Well, if you're the Minnesota Twins, you feel as though you've got to play mistake-free baseball. Gomez coming around second base, slips and falls. The captain asks for the baseball from Swisher. He gets it, applies the tag. And the tag came before Delmon Young, who was hustling all the way around, got to home plate. So nice play by Swisher and the communication with Derek Jeter at shortstop.
Yeah, it's not a surprise Derek Jeter's involved in a play like that. And what happened to Gomez?
Well, Gomez fell going around second base, tagged out there by Jeter. And Gomez, sometimes you have too much speed as he slips and falls. Jeter asks for the baseball. If you're the runner, you got to go the other way. You can't come back to second base. Get in a rundown so that run will count. As you see, Delmon Young's hustling all the way in. It's not his fault. And as he does not cross home plate before the tag is applied, of course, the run does not count.
So we remain scoreless, and the 2, 3, 4 hitters are up for the Yankees, and Johnny Damon is the first out.
Gomez right here should know that he is not going to be able to go first to third, so he should stop really at second base. He gets caught. When he got caught, he should have proceeded to third base and get in a rundown. Ron Gardenhire said about Gomez, he has amazing speed. His nickname is Go-Go. Sometimes he irritates the opponents, and Ron Gardenhire said, sometimes he irritates me.
And a big emotional swing. Minnesota was thinking they had the lead here in Game 2. Instead, it's still tied with the teeth of this Yankee order coming up against Nick Blackburn, who has yet to give up a hit in this game tonight.
His aggressive play, Chip, and that's one of the strong points of this game, but it's got to be intelligent, aggressive play. You have to know what the situation is. No chance to go from first to third there.
High fly ball into shallow right center field. Gomez is coming on, and it'll be Nick Punto ranging way out into shallow right field, making the catch for the second out. Denard Span was there too, but a fine catch by Punto.
Well, there's 2 great plays in 2 nights right here. Why it's a real strong play is that Span didn't have a chance to get there. Gomez didn't have a chance to get there. So the only way you make this catch to your second baseman is 1, you're fearless, and 2, you stay with the baseball, and he did both.
6 up, 6 down for Blackburn in the game, and Alex Rodriguez, the hitter, he popped out his first time up.
When he came back from hip surgery, he was playing every day, and Joe Girardi saw that he was starting to tire and he really made a concerted effort to make sure that he gave Alex some days off during the season that he certainly wouldn't have done that in the past. And the result is that giving him that rest, entering today's game following a day off, and that includes last night's game, 22 for his last 39 with 4 home runs and 20 RBIs. So a well-rested Alex Rodriguez is a very dangerous Alex Rodriguez.
And a little ground ball hit toward first. Kadire feeds the pitcher Nick Blackburn. 7 up and 7 down as our scoreless game 2 moves to the 5th inning.
The MLB Division Series on TBS is brought to you by Walmart. Save money, live better. Walmart. And by Avis. We try harder.
Beautiful night in New York. The weatherman was not exactly optimistic at the start of the day today. There is all kinds of weather moving into the greater metropolitan area. Hopefully it's going to arrive after midnight and after the conclusion of Game 2 tonight at Yankee Stadium. And Nick Punto starts things off against A.J. Burnett, who's allowed just 2 base hits in this game, his first ever postseason start.
8 of his starts this year, he gave up 3 hits or less. He can have those games in a heartbeat, and he has one of the ultimate, of course, the owner of a no-hitter. Albeit a strange one for A.J. Burnett. He says that he would love to have another shot at one because his first one against the Padres was he walked 9 hitters in the game. So.
And a little bit wild tonight with 2 hit batsmen, a couple of walks. And now a strike to Punto, 2 balls and a strike.
Sometimes a pitcher can be conveniently wild. I mean, just enough around the strike zone that didn't throw 2 pitches close, and then the 2-1 pitches right down the heart of the plate.
Yeah, but 9 walks and a no-hitter, that's Nuclear Lush wild, isn't it?
You're right.
2-2.
So he goes 2-0, throws one down the middle, throws one up in the strike zone by Punto, and now he's back dictating the at-bat.
And a slider over the outside corner. Boy, that has been an effective pitch for him all night tonight.
When you look at the pitch tracks, he has the kind of ability that when he is throwing hard, you have to be so conscious of that middle plate in. That ball is right on the corner. And you know, when you're looking at that pitch track, just remember the ball width all around that rectangle also included in the strike zone for most umpires.
Denard Span, another slider strike, 0-1 to him.
I always wanted a little more than that,
sure.
But
they couldn't make the box big enough for it.
That's so true.
And off the thumbs of the Twins leadoff man, right fielder tonight, Denard Span. It's quickly 0-2.
This is a pitch count you very rarely see from a pitcher like Burnett. The ability to strike out hitters and at a very alarmingly small pitch count rate. 60th pitch in the 5th inning. Trying that backdoor slurve again.
Got it there, but didn't get the call that time. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Chuck Merriweather's having a very good game behind there. He's not getting enticed into calling every pitch that's close to strike. That ball came around the outside corner.
And that's a catcher's job. Test the limits with each successive pitch. And that one in the dirt. Did he go? No. Appeal to third, and Jim Joyce says he didn't swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, it's incumbent on all those umpires to look at the side angle. Good slider in the dirt. Denard Span definitely held up his swing. Good call by Jim Joyce. But he also did in that he called it really quickly. You need that call quick, because if he did swing, give Span a chance to run down to first base.
Fastball right on his thumbs. And Burnett does his job, beats the speedy base runner to the bag. Bases clear now, 2 men out in the top of the 5th inning. Coming to TBS this November, put your hands together, America. George Lopez is bringing the party back to late night. It's Lopez tonight, weekends at 11:10 Central, starting November 9th only on TBS. I think I meant to say weeknights there, Ron. I'm sorry. Weeknights, not weekends. For George Lopez.
I would have been out in the dark.
I'm sorry about that, George. My apologies.
I was sitting by, trying to TiVo, do my thing, getting ready for George, and nothing.
So it's weeknights for George Lopez. Here's Cabrera. He's 0 for 2. Hit the ball deep to left. There have only been a couple of balls, I think, hit hard against A.J. Burnett tonight. And Cabrera in the 7th inning with a man aboard. Thought he hit one just enough to get it out, but it was caught on the track by Johnny Damon.
A.J. got into trouble in the 4th inning after getting 2 outs and a couple hit batters. Try not to let that happen here in the 5th.
I'm really impressed with the way he's pitching in this game.
There's a pitch that I'm sure Cabrera would love to have back. 2-0, probably trying to jump a fastball on Burnett. Got something up in the zone, but that would have been ball 3.
Two balls, 2 strikes to a man that carried a 16-game regular season hit streak into the 2009 postseason. Orlando Cabrera.
Pitching line there by Burnett. You'd have to think at 3-2, 2 outs, you're going to get fastball. You know why? Who's up next?
Joe Mauer.
Mr. Mauer. You want to go after Cabrera.
Instead, it was a breaking ball, and it was way out of the strike zone. So an interesting pitch selection there from A.J. Burnett. And a base on balls with 2 outs indeed does bring up Joe Mauer here in the Minnesota 5th.
Sometimes you can fall in love with the strikeout. And that was what that pitch was for. A 3-2 breaking ball to fool Cabrera to get the strikeout. But in that instance, every pitching coach and every coach in baseball will tell you, go after Cabrera. Don't put him in front of the best hitter this year in the American League.
And tonight's Power Performance is brought to you by the new movie Astro Boy in theaters October 23rd.
That looks like you on the way to the ballpark in Atlanta during the middle of the summer.
I don't think so. It does look a little like Craig Biggio, however. And look at Joe Mauer. Tops in American League slugging percentage. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout in tonight's game 2. Cabrera's got to be careful at first. You know, Molina's not afraid to throw it there if he has to. And Mauer looks off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes.
You know, in his other batting championship years, you would in this instance maybe run Cabrera, try to get him in scoring position, because Mauer only hit home runs every 46.8 at bats, but he's turned that around this season. He's become a threat where you might want to stay stationary and give him a shot at that porch.
Plus the big hole on the right side where Teixeira holds Cabrera at first base. Certainly helps Joe in this 5th inning. It's Twins had the best chance to score in this game. A Matt Tolbert single up the middle. Delman Young was about to score, but they threw behind Carlos Gomez at second, tagged him out before Young could touch the plate. That was the third out, and that's why we're still scoreless.
It's very interesting. We talked about before that Posada and A.J. Burnett were not always on the same wavelength. Well, Burnett has been shaking off Molina a lot more in this ballgame than I've seen in the past.
Well, you've got Mauer and all his power, but you've got Kubel next, and that's a man that struck out 4 times already in this series. A strike, 3 balls and a strike. So the old adage, don't let the superstar beat you. Well, Mauer is one of the superstars on this Twins club. Kubel not quite there yet.
But that's a pitch that can hurt you sometimes. He threw a strike away, got a strike to Mauer. Maybe he might try to do that again, but Mauer can hit the ball out to left field just as well as right field.
So a dangerous count for A.J. Burnett. 3 balls and a strike to Joe Mauer. And 2 men are on in this 5th inning for Jason Kubel. So an interesting game. We've had an inning with back-to-back at-batsmen. Now we have an inning with back-to-back bases on balls for A.J. Burnett.
And this is what makes, I think, A.J. Burnett so enigmatic to pitching coach Dave Island, because he can really just go through the first 2 hitters like they're not even there, and then just whether it's a lack of concentration, whether it's a pitching around certain hitters, whether it's a bad pitch choice like the 3-2 pitch to Cabrera, all of a sudden he gets himself in a little bit of trouble. One guy centers a ball, hits a double, and you're in trouble. Tolbert did that before in the last inning, but a base running mistake did cost the Twins a run. Well, his pitch count was outstanding, but he's building it up in this inning with 21 pitches. 73 now through the 5th, which is still a good pitch count for A.J. Burnett.
So the Twins hoping that Jason Kubel, tonight's designated hitter, can make some hay with 2 outs. And a good cut is fouled straight back. Kubel has 2 swinging strikeouts tonight. Struck out swinging in his first 2 at-bats Wednesday night. And Nick Blackburn would love a 5th inning lead if he can get it.
Well, think about it this way. When Justin Morneau went down, who was their MVP, it was really Kubel. As you can see, the RBIs in the American League, Jason Kubel. It was Kubel, Kadire, and Young who really came through to pick up the slack. Other than Kadire with his couple hits in this series, no production from Young or Kubel.
And boy, is Orlando Cabrera dancing around at second base for Minnesota. And Molina is out to talk about that with A.J. Burnett. With that last pitch, Cabrera had about a 35-40 foot lead off the second base bag as that pitch went to the plate.
Well, with Kubel up there, I think that you want to get a good secondary lead, but if I'm the hitter, I don't want a guy on second base dancing up and down. I'd rather him get his nice secondary lead, score on a base hit, but the jumping up and down can be a distraction at times. But he is getting a huge lead.
And these are these opportunities that the Twins have to cash in. 2 hits, 2 hit batsmen, 4 walks, but no runs so far for the Minnesota offense. He went around, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, Molina now has been out there 3 times, and you say to yourself, what do they need to talk about? Well, sometimes the most important pitch of a game comes in the 5th inning. It doesn't always come in the 9th, and this is one of those pitches.
Breaking ball hit on the ground towards second. Throw to first. A.J. Burnett out of trouble again. This time it's in the 5th inning. Scoreless game as we head to the Yankees half of the 5th inning. A night of great pitching will continue on TBS, we presume, after our ball game here in the Bronx. How about this matchup, Ronnie? Game 2 of the Red Sox-Angels series, Josh Beckett and Jared Weaver.
Well, Jared Weaver's had an outstanding season. Beckett seems to have an outstanding season every year, but that's an important game for the Red Sox. They lost with Lester yesterday pitching. I thought John Lester threw a pretty good ball game. He just got bested by John Lackey, who was outstanding. And this guy's been outstanding too, quietly, because there's no hit batters. He only has 1 walk, but that's all Nick Blackburn has led up so far. He's been outstanding.
Yankees looking for their first hit with Hideki Matsui in the box, and like a pitching machine, Blackburn's ahead 0-2. That was one of the subplots of this game. How would these first-time pitchers in postseason play fare tonight? Blackburn for Minnesota, A.J. Burnett for the Yankees.
Well, their grades are very good at the midpoint, but it's incomplete for the year or the game. Blackburn just done little pitches, moved Matsui's feet. You know he has the bad knees. Makes him conscious inside, and then he can go away.
And Hideki, a good job just to foul that ball away.
A lot of zeros in the right places right there.
And that's at the knees over the inside corner. And Matsui is struck out. And that's the second strikeout of the game for Nick Blackburn.
This is the art of pitching for you young guys at home who are trying to learn the game. You don't have to throw 100 miles an hour. Little fastball up that Matsui swung at. And then that little cutter in for a strike. Then moves his feet so he can try to throw a backdoor curveball. Fouled off by Matsui in that little fastball inside. In, out, soft, hard, up, down. Beautiful. Changing speeds and working quickly is Mr. Blackburn tonight.
Nick Swisher, the batter, he struck out looking. His first and only time up. And he unloads foul for a swinging strike.
You noticed, right? In the first couple of innings, the Yankee hitters are trying to be patient, trying to work the count. You can't work the count against the guy who keeps throwing first pitch strikes. So now you have both Matsui and Swisher swinging at that first pitch fastball.
And if they don't get it, it plays right into his hands because it's still strike 1. And now strike 2 over the inside corner, and Swisher not happy with that call.
Swisher's not really happy with any call. That's a strike. He's a guy that walks a lot. He prides himself on having a good batting eye. But Blackburn's had a lot of movement, especially inside the lefties tonight. That's a little of the old Greg Maddux there. Very interesting by Blackburn. First pitch fouled off by Swisher. Second pitch, that fastball that comes back over the plate. And there he cut a fastball in. Blackburn is just the opposite of A.J. Burnett. You're not going to see a lot of swings and misses. Second lowest percentage in the American League.
A one-hopper right back to the mound. He'll take a look at the baseball and take care of Nick Swisher. 2 up and 2 down here in the Yankees' 5th.
Well, it's still kind of early, but when you look at what Minnesota needed, they needed one of their starting pitchers to go out there. Tonight he's had to match zeros with Burnett, but really take the bull by the horns and be the guy to get them deep in the game, close, where they can make a move, make a mark against one of either Burnett or the relief pitchers that will follow.
Blackburn's retired 10 consecutive men as Robinson Cano bats. He too tapped back to the mound. That ended New York's 2nd inning at the plate. And there was a time this year where Ron Gardenhire told us he was, quote, practically begging, end quote, for a starter to take the ball into the 7th inning. Well, Blackburn has been very, very consistent. Over 200 innings this year. 11 wins, an ERA a shade over 4 runs per game. That despite a .290 opponent's batting average against him.
More than half of his starts, 17. He went 7 innings or more this season.
Fly ball into center field. It's going to drop in front of Gomez, and there's the first Yankee hit. So Robinson Cano is aboard with 2 outs, and Melky Cabrera's coming up.
Well, Mr. Blackburn has lived mostly on the bottom of the strike zone, trying to come in here. And that was that cutter that he threw before. It just stayed on the outside part of the plate. A mistake that will happen. And Cano took advantage of that mistake.
So Blackburn to the stretch for the first time since the 2nd inning. And Cabrera, the batter, rolled out to third his first time up. Scoreless game, just 3 hits combined so far in game 2.
So in this inning, 3 of the 4 hitters, when they've seen a fastball first pitch, they are swinging and swinging for the fences. Only Cano took the first pitch because it was a curveball. So probably the hitting coach for the Yankees, Kevin Long, has talked to his troops and said we need to be a little more aggressive against Nick Blackburn.
Didn't get the corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the Yankees are making an adjustment. Once the adjustment Blackburn has to make if they come up more aggressively at the plate.
I don't think he has to make an adjustment right now. If he starts giving up hits on those first pitch strikes, then he has to make an adjustment. It's just been a foul ball so far. And Joe Mauer, we were talking to Ron Gardenhire today about, there used to be a time when he called his pitchers bobblehead dolls out there because they were shaking off Mauer so much. Of course, that part of his game is exponentially better also. There was a time when they'd have to send the pitching coach, Rick Anderson, out there to talk to the pitchers. Mauer knows instinctively when to go out there.
It's been a long time since Blackburn's pitched out of the set position in this game. He's behind in the count to Cabrera, 2 balls and a strike. Now that one fisted down the third base line, but into this big Yankee Stadium crowd, 2-2.
When we're talking to Ron Gardenhire about the role of Rick Anderson as one of the outstanding pitching coaches in baseball, I said, you guys are kind of a poor man's version of Duncan and La Russa. He goes, well, I don't know about that, but I know nothing about pitching. So I let Rick Anderson take care of all the pitching, when they're done, when they're not done. I just ask him. He gives me the straight answer, and we go from there.
Yankees got 5 2-out runs in game 1 of this series. Have a man aboard, 2 outs here in the 5th. And we will head to the 6th inning. Another strikeout for Nick Blackburn. Scoreless duel continues in New York. We're back after the break. And now this CNN News Update presented by NYSE Euronext. 6th inning now and still scoreless. Pitching has been very, very good so far tonight in game 2 of this series. And a ground ball to Alex Rodriguez on the first pitch of this 6th inning off the bat of Michael Kadire. 1 pitch and 1 out. Why are we scoreless, Ron? Here's why. Let's check out our Travelers mid-game recap.
Well, a base hit by Tolbert up the middle. Delman Young looks like he's going to score, but Carlos Gomez slips and falls, tagged out before Young could cross the plate.
Meanwhile, Nick Blackburn just keeps on rolling merrily along, has allowed just 1 hit. A.J. Burnett has been effectively wild tonight. Yes, he has his 5 strikeouts, but 4 walks and 2 hit batsmen have not been cashed in by Minnesota so far.
You can walk guys in a game if you're a guy that can strike out people. Blackburn is not like that. That's why he has the limited walks. You see Delman Young's numbers, 0 for 5 in this ALDS so far. It's just what's good about this game and fun to watch is you have 2 guys who have not given up a run but have totally different styles, and they go at it a totally different way, but both effective because they pitch the way their style is, to their style.
2 balls, 2 strikes. You mentioned A.J. Burnett keeping his emotions under control, keeping his rotations under control, keeping his pitches under control. Blackburn has to use all of his pitches. Both have done that for the most part tonight, as that one bounces up there for a full count. And so Delvin Young will see a 3-2 pitch with Carlos Gomez waiting next. And for Yankee fans, Game 1, CC Sabathia, his Yankee playoff debut, went very, very well. To this point, A.J. Burnett hasn't allowed anything in his first postseason start with New York. A very encouraging sign.
Well, I think for CC Sabathia, you know, he wouldn't have said it before the game because you don't say these kind of things if you're the warrior kind of pitcher he is. But certainly after the game was done, a sense of relief to get a postseason victory in his first game as a free agent for this Yankee team was something he needed.
And that one way off target from A.J. Burnett. That's 5 walks in our ball game. 1 on, 1 out as again we check in with Craig Sager tonight.
Well, following up on what Ron was talking about, I saw CeCe at yesterday's workout, and he was like a little kid going to the ballpark for the first time, seeing the stadium, running around. I talked to him tonight in the dugout again. We were talking before the game. I go, "Are you the most relaxed person in the stadium tonight?" He says, "Absolutely."
Not a surprise. 8 strikeouts, no walks, and only 1 earned run in the Yankees' Game 1 victory. And Carlos Gomez, the batter. They chased Delvin Young back to first. Again, the Yankees spent a lot of money this offseason. There's no getting around it. Mark Teixeira, A.J. Burnett, CC Sabathia. With that comes the expectation that they will perform in postseason play.
And maybe the most unrelaxed person in this ballpark is the hitter we have up, Carlos Gomez, whose mistake cost the Twins a run, and I'm sure he'd love another shot at redemption.
Well, the Twins haven't fared very well in this ballpark this year in regular season or postseason play when they've had a lead. They lost all 4 regular season games. They lost Game 1 of this division series after claiming a 2-0 advantage. And now try to break through in inning number 6. 5 A.J. Burnett walks.
Spending a lot of attention on Delvin Young at first base.
Oh, 2.
This young man is the kind of athlete, if he was born in Florida, he'd be a running back and gaining 1,500 yards a year. Tobacco Road, he'd been a point guard for UNC. That kind of athlete.
Problem is, I don't think he would have handled Dean Smith's 4 corners very well, would he?
Yeah, he looks like the kind of guy that needs that rock to put it up.
That's it.
25 times a game.
Run and gun, baby. No balls, 2 strikes. Runner goes. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Molina's throw hits the charging base runner, Delvin Young. And he's in safely with a stolen base. Gomez trying to protect the base runner, swung at a ball in on his hands and is struck out.
Well, Delvin Young looking in, picked the slider to run on. And that's why it made it more difficult for Jose Molina. Watch the slider down in the dirt, but still Molina gets a throw off into the runner. Luckily for the Yankees, it hit Young, stayed in play.
So Brendan Harris has been announced. He will come on and pinch hit for Matt Tolbert in the Minnesota 6th. Tolbert ends his night 1-for-2. His was the hit that would have scored Delvin Young had Gomez not wandered and slipped at second base.
Real interesting play, don't you think, right here to bat for Tolbert? I know right-handers have fared much better against A.J. Burnett, but Tolbert's one of the few Twins that's hit the ball hard tonight. Interested to know if Tolbert's feeling all right
So Ron Gardenhire takes down Tolbert. Pinch hits Brendan Harris. Harris 2 for 12 lifetime, including postseason against A.J. Burnett. And one of those hits a home run. And Minnesota hoping he can run into one here in the 6th inning and put him in front by 2.
Jose Molina is just one of those catchers in charge of the game. Before that pitch was sent, he was standing up, waving his arms up and down, telling his infielders to get down. Any ground ball in the infield, you have to keep it in play. Keep it in the infield so Delman Young can't score.
1 ball, no strikes.
.90 for AJ to this point. Probably it's a little higher than he'd like just because of the walks.
Yankee bullpen is starting to stir here with 2 outs and a man aboard. And way outside to pinch hitter Brendan Harris. Ron Gardenhire not afraid to go to his bench, and with good reason. Outfield straightaway, relatively deep for Harris. And a good stop by Molina. 3 balls and a strike. Nick Punto waits next. There are the Yankee relievers warming with a 3-1 count to Harris. High fly ball, pretty well hit. Damon on the run, still going back. Track wall, leaps, he can't get it. It's off the fence. A run scores. Harris around second. He'll triple and put Minnesota in front with 2 outs. So at long last, the bases on balls come back to haunt A.J. Burnett. Ron Gardenhire pushes the magic button. Twins off the bench get a triple and a 1-0 lead.
Well, he took a chance, did. A.J. Burnett throwing a fastball to Harris, 3-1 count. Johnny Damon, nice try in left center. Looked to center field to Cabrera, knew he wasn't going to get any help, and that had to be his play. Once he crashed into the fence, ball got away from Cabrera, that allowed Harris to triple.
Now Molina's really got to be aware of the wild pitch. As that ball fisted to the left side by Punto. Long run, A-Rod near the rail and cannot come up. 17 regular season wild pitches for A.J. Burnett. But interestingly, Ron, Minnesota's really cashed in.
They really have. 6 of those have come against Minnesota. Punto's one of those tough outs. You know, 2 outs, guy on third. You say to yourself, well, he would never bunt here, would he? But Punto's that kind of player. Never know what he's going to do.
Teixeira even with the bag at first. A-Rod on the grass at third. And a roller hit slowly out towards second base. And the inning comes to a close, but a pinch hit triple by Brendan Harris plates Delman Young. And at long last, Minnesota has yet another lead at Yankee Stadium.
The MLB Division Series on TBS is brought to you by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect combination of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. And by the new T-Mobile MyTouch 3G.
Jorge Posada is off the bench to bat for Jose Molina in the 6th inning for New York. Now trailing the Twins by a 1-0 score. Posada, disappointed to not be starting tonight's game 2, can have a huge impact off the bench. Defensively, the hitting hero for Minnesota, Brendan Harris, remains in the game. He tripled home the game's only run. Now plays third base. Fly ball. Well hit toward left. Long run out there by Gomez, and he will make the catch on the warning track. Posada gave it a ride. He is retired now, 4 for 12 as a pinch hitter for the Yankees, counting the postseason. And the emotion of A.J. Burnett evident a moment ago.
Well, we saw it in the opening. He's one of those guys that he realizes right now how important that run that he gave up with the triple to Harris. That was the same spot, that not as deep that Harris's triple went. Gomez made it look easy with his speed, but as has been the case here at Yankee Stadium, when the Twins get up, it doesn't always necessarily mean they're going to win. They're third with the most losses in the major leagues when scoring first, behind Washington and Baltimore.
And this is a playoff team. Jeter rolls it slowly toward Harris at third, and that is a foul ball. No balls and a strike. Washington, this season in the National League, lost 103 games, 37 of them when they scored first. Baltimore lost 98 games, 36 of them when scoring first. The Minnesota Twins went 87 and 76.
The year that might have been, they might not have had to play 163 if they were able to hold more of those leads.
Ron Gardenhire, tongue-in-cheek on Wednesday, said, look, the key to getting over the hump, score one more than the Yankees in this ballpark. They haven't been able to do it yet this season. They lead again tonight with Jeter in the box. Fly ball right center field. Long run, Gomez can't get there. That'll bounce into the bullpen for a double. Third hit of this series for Derek Jeter, a ringing one-out double.
But when the Twins in yesterday's ball game got ahead 2-0, the two-run home run came from Jeter. Now they're down 1-0 with one out, and Jeter, of course, responds with a big hit and is in scoring position.
Johnny Damon 0 for 2 with a man at second now and one out. Jeter this year, remember, stole 30 bases for New York. Would he dare challenge the combo of Blackburn and Mauer here?
Well, 6 of those 30 have been third base, and Brendan Harris, because of Damon, is way off the line.
Fisted over the screen, strike one.
And the reason I say that, with Harris being way up the line for Damon, it's very difficult when a runner is stealing from second, trying to steal, to get there with the run and catch the ball and apply the tag. Now they're moving Harris back after the first pitch strike. He doesn't have to worry about the bunt as much. Makes it easier. In his peripheral vision, he can see Jeter now. Still way off the line. And you're talking about a fielder who's got to get down, ready position, look for the ball, and if Jeter's stealing, get to the base, catch the ball, and apply the tag all on the run. Very difficult thing to do.
And for Mauer, the decision, can he throw to an unoccupied base and hope Harris gets there?
I think the reason Jeter's going to stay on second one is that Damon's a left-handed hitter, easy to throw for Mauer, and plus Damon with his home runs to right field all season long, give him a chance to hit a two-run bomb.
Dodger manager Joe Torre last weekend told us the most difficult inning for a manager is the sixth. How long do you stick with your starter, whether it's in the National League or the American League? And trouble afoot for Blackburn in this sixth. Line down the right field line, but foul off the bat of Johnny Damon.
Well, there's 2-2 count on Damon. You'll see on this 2-1 count. Nice pitch by Blackburn. You say to yourself, boy, but there was a line drive down that right field line. Took a little bit off that curveball. 2-1. Got Johnny out in front.
Now Mauer wants to talk it over. Blackburn has not been a big strikeout pitcher this year, but tonight he has 3 of them, and you know he would love one off the bat of Johnny Damon here with 1 out.
Well, Damon has a bad trend working in postseason. We know how outstanding he's been throughout the postseason, but 104 at bats with 2 strikes. His entire postseason career, Johnny Damon, 1 RBI.
Just missed at the letters.
Well, this is a pitch that he's gotten earlier in the game. Tried to come back inside. Does not come back or down enough to get in that strike zone. Good call by Chuck Merriweather.
Full count. It's the second walk of the game for Nick Blackburn. And now Mark Teixeira in the batter's box. And a meeting coming to the mound.
Well, Rick Anderson coming out here to talk to Blackburn has been outstanding. But what happens, I think, for this Twins team is that they've had such a bad streak and trend of it here. All the losses we've documented, that Blackburn feels the pressure, feels that he has an opportunity all by himself to get this Twins team a win. And in this inning, the first inning, he's worked behind in the count. John Roush, of course, you know him because he's the 6'11" right-hander. And Ron Mayhay, the left-hander they acquired late in August from the Kansas City Royals.
Well, here's a spot for Teixeira. In the immortal words of Yogi Berra, maybe deja vu all over again. May 16th, he hit a 3-run, 2-out homer against Blackburn. He'd love to do it again here in game 2. Ball 1.
Well, we talked about CC Sabathia coming over and doing his job. A.J. Burnett doing his job in the postseason. Well, this is the trifecta here for the Yankees and Mark Teixeira. Can he come through with a big hit?
He's 0 for 6 so far in this series.
Blackburn's lost some of that bite on his curveball. He's lost that inside fastball for a strike. And anything away, middle of plate away, when Teixeira is above in the count, danger zone.
2 balls, no strikes. Swing and a drive deep right. Will it stay fair?
Well, that got the crowd on their feet. Just a little too quick there in the 2-0 pitch from Blackburn. Teixeira with a line drive that certainly would have been out, but just looked foul.
Coming into this game, Mark Teixeira was 6 for 6 in his career against Nick Blackburn. The Twins right-hander has popped him up twice. Two and 2.
Had a pitch to hit right there. shows you a little bit about the guts of Mr. Blackburn, too, though. 2-0 count, came in, took him deep, but foul. A lot of pitchers would shy away for that next pitch. Did he? No. Right back after Teixeira.
What's Mauer calling with a 2-2 count now? Alex Rodriguez next, a 3-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, you'd have to think right there with that 2-2 count. That was a show-me pitch. He didn't want to go away for a strike to Teixeira. Sometimes you can pitch to a 3-2 count to set up that inside fastball.
Popped him up. Delman Young in left. And there are 2 men out.
Do you have the guts to pitch inside what it could cost you the lead? Well, Mr. Blackburn showed he can. First pitch up. Little curveball makes it 2-0. Almost hits a home run. Comes back in there again. Show me pitch outside. And back into Teixeira to pop him up. Gutsy pitching in that sequence by Nick Blackburn. See Cabrera out there yelling and screaming, imploring for his young pitcher to get one more out.
So you dodge one big Yankee slugger, but now you stare at Alex Rodriguez.
Well, the hit chart for Alex Rodriguez, you can see how he litters his hits across the field. More of a pull hitter now than he's been in his past years, but also has the power to right field. We saw him single last night over the head of Kubel. Has power to all fields. 30 this year.
First time A-Rod's hit with anybody on base tonight. The big sigh of relief for Yankee fans was Alex Rodriguez finally breaking out of what had been a terrible postseason slump with runners on base and in scoring position. He had 2-out RBIs twice in the first game of this set on Wednesday, but entered this postseason 0 for his last 18 with runners in scoring position.
Well, Reggie Jackson threw out the first ball today. This is a Reggie Jackson type moment.
Hot shot, base hit. Jeter around third will get the green light, and A-Rod has come through again.
Well, this is becoming a different postseason than postseasons past for Alex. Fastball middle of the plate, not trying to do too much. Get a pitch and hit it hard. Base hit just enough to tie this game. And again, same old merry-go-round for these Minnesota Twins. They get a lead and it dissipates quickly.
Ron Gardenhire has said, especially in this park and especially against this Yankee team, mistakes will kill you. And Minnesota, with a base running mistake, has cost themselves 1 run. And Nick Blackburn will leave with this game tied as Alex Rodriguez, his third 2-out RBI of this young series, ties the game 1-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Well, Ronnie, as if on cue, Alex Rodriguez provides us with a Reggie Jackson kind of moment. And for a couple more, let's check out our moments that changed the game, brought to you by Viagra. Game 6, 1977 World Series against the Dodgers. Reggie Jackson hit 3 homers, each off the first pitch of each of his at-bats and off different pitchers, locking up the series for the New York Yankees.
The victims, Putin, Sosa, and then Huff.
And Reggie Jackson tonight threw out the ceremonial first pitch, and yeah, he'd love to hit with that porch in right.
He doesn't want to show that again, I'll tell you that. The great Reggie Jackson. The big bopper.
So a big hit for Alex Rodriguez through the whole left side. Johnny Damon at second. Rodriguez at first with 2 outs, and now Ron Mayhay is on to try to take care of Hideki Matsui.
Well, in the postseason, Hideki Matsui in his career, 120 at-bats against right-handed pitching, 275 average, 3 home runs. But against left-handed pitching, and that should be the move you have to go to, 45 at-bats, 4 home runs, 378 average. So Ron Mayhay has his work cut out for him.
Nick Blackburn, 5 innings and 2/3, 3 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. But as you'd expect, Derek Jeter's 1-out double got this crowd back into the game and helped the Yankees tie it up on that Alex Rodriguez hit. A strike over the inside corner. One of those home runs that Matsui has clobbered in postseason play came in Game 1 of this series. And a little roller hit to the right side. And the race to the bag is won by Michael Kadire. Derek Jeter with a 1-out double. Alex Rodriguez with a clutch 2-out hit chases him home. And the Yankees and Twins are tied again as we head to inning number 7. This American League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. And with Ron Darling, with Craig Sager, with our producer Glenn Diamond, our director Lonnie Dale, our great stat man Hal Galima. Another super ball game in the Bronx. Twins won, Yankees won, 7th inning, and Jabba Chamberlain is on in relief.
Well, Jabba, 9 wins this season, 31 starts. Made 1 relief appearance against Tampa Bay at the end of the season, and 1 here on Wednesday night. Got an out on 2 pitches.
Denard Span starts things off and takes a strike. Joe Girardi telling us one of the reasons the Yankees selected the Wednesday start date for this ALCS matchup with the Twins was the extra off day, and that allows him the luxury of using all of his power arms in every game for the first 4 of them if need be. Ground ball hit out toward Derek Jeter at short. And Span is out number 1. 1-1 game again as we check in with Craig.
Although Jabba Chamberlain is making his 2nd appearance in as many days in this postseason and many games, he told me before the game he can't adjust to his role as a reliever. He says, I have too much energy in my hands. I don't know what to do all day. He said, example, yesterday before the workout I played golf. He said, I went home after the workout, played golf again. I had a tee off time today and I was going to play golf even on the day game, but I overslept. Chip.
How about that? As Orlando Cabrera bats. And looks a little low. 1 ball, no strikes. What will the Yankees do with Jabba Chamberlain should they advance to the next round? That's one of the big questions here in New York. Story in the New York Post today said that the Yankees may be leaning toward Chad Gaudin in rotation rather than Jabba Chamberlain.
Well, if he pitches well in this ALDS out of the bullpen, I don't think there's any need to change his role.
Ground ball hit slowly toward third. A-Rod to his right. Long throw across. And 2 are down.
I mean, you and I have watched a Jabba pitch, what, a half dozen times. And the one thing that you see different when he's relieving than when he starts is the aggressiveness in the strike zone. It's obvious. So latent to watch, and you see the numbers, of course. They're stark from relieving to starting. But, you know, remember, he was trying to learn on the job, really, to become a major league starter. That's not so easy.
And Joe Girardi has also been very frank in saying you have to remember that Jabba Chamberlain did not have many innings in the minor leagues before he came up to the Major League Ball Club in 2007. as Joe Mauer looks at a strike. Chamberlain pitched in 88 1/3 minor league innings before coming to the big league club. And he is bringing the gas in their 7th inning. Ow, that got Chuck Merriweather on the foot. Posada couldn't catch up to it, and Merriweather hit on the fly.
You know what happens is you have that protective leg guards, but I think that caught Chuck on the inside of that right ankle. Jorge called for a ball away, got the ball inside. Watch the inside of that ankle, off the inside of his instep of his foot. Yeah, shake it off, Chuck. Umpires are tough too, you know.
1 ball, 1 strike. Base is clear for Mauer. And upstairs, ball 2. Yankees have pitched Mauer very carefully tonight. He has walked twice. He has taken a called 3rd strike, and so officially is 0 for 1 in tonight's game. 2 for 5 so far in the first 2 games of this ALDS.
You ever think in the meetings today that Dave Allen and his pitchers ever mentioned the phrase, "Don't let Mauer beat you"?
I think that's probably in bold headlines and highlighted marker pen. 3-1. Back up the middle, a kick save attempt by Chamberlain, and he can't get it. Joe Mauer, a 2-out hit right back through the box. And that's going to do it for Jabba Chamberlain. Joe Girardi pops out of the dugout and already has signaled to the Yankee bullpen. So Jabba Chamberlain, who went a 1/3 of an inning on Wednesday night, will go 2/3 tonight, give up a hit to Mauer, and will need a little help from his Yankee pen mates in a tie game, top of the 7th. Coming up next on TBS, it's Game 2, the Red Sox and the Angels from Anaheim. Last night, Torrey Hunter led the way for the Halos in a 5-0 win over the Red Sox. We'll see what unfolds tonight. Game 2, Red Sox and Angels, coming up next on TBS. Don Orsillo and Buck Martinez will have the call in Southern California. The Red Sox behind Josh Beckett, hoping to split that 2-game portion of that series out west before heading back to Fenway Park.
Well, Phil Koch, the left-hander, will come in here for the New York Yankees. Did an outstanding job. Boy, 72 games in the regular season. Many of them in the beginning of the year when he's soaking up a lot of appearances and innings for Joe Girardi. He's got his hands full here, though. Jason Kubel, although has struggled against left-handed pitching, hits most of his home runs against right-handed pitching.
So it's Koch versus Kubel in the 7th. Game tied 1-1. Game 2 of this ALDS. If Minnesota wins it, they even the series and take home field advantage away from the Yankees, with the next 2 games scheduled at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. If the Yankees win tonight, they take a commanding 2-0 lead. Kubel has struck out 4 times in this series, does not have a hit in his career against Koch. And nearly threw that one past Mark Teixeira at first base. Very short lead at first by Mauer, and the 1-0 pitch. Michael Kadire is waiting next, as Kubel now ahead in the count. Kubel thought he checked his swing, but it's called a strike at the plate.
Well, Chuck Merriweather did not get any help, and that is not his swing. That's one of those you'd hope he'd get some help from his third base umpire, Jim Joyce.
2 balls and a strike.
Joe Mauer had 4 stolen bases during the season. All 4 of them have come from the 7th inning on. Usually in this kind of circumstance, tries to steal one.
It's another strikeout for Kubel. Joe Mauer left stranded at first. The Twins have stranded a runner in every inning of this tie game in the 7th. Well, if you love pitching, you have to love this ball game tonight. 1-1 is our score as we head to the bottom half of the 7th inning of play with my partner Ron Darling. Chip Carey back at Yankee Stadium. Plenty of chances for the Minnesota Club, Ronnie, tonight, but a base running blunder has cost them 1 run, and Minnesota has left at least 1 base runner on base in every offensive inning to this point.
It really did. It cost them early. It seems like they always seem to make a blunder here in this ballpark, but you have to give a lot of credit to Nick Blackburn. He has stuck his nose in there, pitched fine ball for 5 2/3 innings, and it's going to be interesting to watch how the Twins play these last few innings. John Roush coming in for the Twins, and they're going to have to beat the bullpen of the New York Yankees.
3 big hits in this series for Alex Rodriguez. 3 RBIs so far. That's great news for the Yankees and maybe bad news for the rest of the American League.
Well, I think with Alex, the ability to be in this lineup, but there's no let up, has allowed him to let up and really relax a little bit, and his swing looks right on time.
So 1-1 is our score at Yankee Stadium tonight. And let's take a look at the Yankees' historical timeline. 39, count them, 39 American League pennants, 26 World Championship teams, their last coming in 2000. That was the Subway Series when they won 4-1 over the New York Mets.
Well, you see the World Series champions since 2000. No repeat champions since the 1998-2000 Yankees. They have a couple of wild cards in there. That's a good sign for the Minnesota Twins and the Colorado Rockies.
But the Phillies have a shot. They're still in the playoffs this year. 1-1 is their series with Colorado.
Oh, absolutely. The Phillies, interesting enough, are going to start in that first game in Colorado. Pedro Martinez, who's going to get a shot at pitching in the postseason again. So that's a nice sign. Prince of a pitcher in Mr. Martinez.
So you mentioned John Roush, all 6'11" of him into the game for the Minnesota Twins, with Nick Swisher, Robinson Cano, and Melky Cabrera set to greet him in the home half of the 7th inning.
Well, John Roush, of course, of these AL Central champions, not the wild card. It's the Red Sox that are the wild card. Blockhead in here. But John Roush has struggled a little bit in Wednesday's game. Maybe it was the fatigue from the flight. Hopefully he's a little sharper here against the bottom of this Yankees lineup.
Swisher 0 for 2 in the game, has struck out and tapped back to the Minnesota mound. 1-1 is the game. Twins hoping to make it a 1-1 series. That had some nasty bite on it, didn't it? 1 ball, 1 strike.
Roush's got that good slider. Throws about 91, 92 now. He's had a lot of appearances the past few seasons. Pitched for the Washington Nationals, went to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and traded here at the end of August to Minnesota.
Yeah, really uncharacteristically for the Twins, they added some pitching in the second half. Adding Roush, adding Mayhay, and maybe the biggest acquisition for them on that staff was Carl Pavano, who pitched very well for Minnesota and is going to pitch Game 3 at the Metrodome. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Here's this pitch to the Swisher, who's got a good idea about the strike zone. Merriweather's been calling that pitch up and away all night. Swisher doesn't like it. Big Blue has the last word.
You mentioned earlier, I think Chuck's had a pretty good game behind the plate.
Yes.
Tim Sheeta in Game 1, outstanding as well. That's bounced in front of the Yankees dugout and out of play. A couple of the Yankees were bailing away as that ball bounded toward them. So the game for now in the hands of John Roush for Minnesota. Phil Koch for the Yankees. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1-hop rocket hit towards second. And Swisher is 0 for 3. Here's the second baseman, Robinson Cano. His first hit of this division series came in the 5th inning with 2 outs. One ball, no strikes.
Cano is one of those guys that I believe is going to be a future batting champion. One of those guys that's in the top 10 at least every year. Sweet swing, covers the whole plate, power to the opposite field.
Fly ball, well hit right center field. Long run out there, and a great catch by Denard Span, who covered an awful lot of turf for the second out. So bases are empty for Melky Cabrera, and Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball. Reaching more than 4 million kids worldwide, together they create a positive place for kids. Melky tonight has grounded to third and has struck out swinging. Yankees have not had many chances to score in this game, but the chance they got in the 6th, they cashed in to tie it up. And it was a double from that man number 2, Derek Jeter, with 1 out. And an RBI single from Alex Rodriguez that ties the game.
Yankees have now scored 8 runs in this 2-game series, 4 of them scored by Derek Jeter.
Dangerous pitch coming from John Roush. 3 balls, no strikes. Was it too high?
Well, in the day, it's not as happens as much anymore. In the day, a 3-0 pitch, anything close is called a strike. That was one of them.
3-1 now. Now it's 3-2. That's twice Cabrera has thought he earned a walk.
Well, he might earn that walk back to the bench if he gets another pitch by Roush. That is not how to win umpires and influence them. Again, though, if on the pitch tracks, representation of the strike zone, strikes to Merriweather.
Fly ball hit toward left and playable for Young. He's got it, and John Roush works a 3 up, 3 down, bottom of the 7th. The duel continues at Yankee Stadium. Coming to TNT this December, a story about life on the other side of the middle. Don't miss Ray Romano in the new series premiere of Men of a Certain Age, December 7th at 10, 9 Central, only on TNT. 4th pitcher of the night, 3rd out of the pen for the Yankees, is right-hander Philip Hughes. And he'll face Michael Cuddyer in the Minnesota 8th, tied at 1.
Well, this is Philip Hughes' numbers during the season where he was outstanding with those 8 wins coming out of the bullpen. Look at that strikeout to walk ratio. But it was in Wednesday night's ball game that he was outstanding, striking out Orlando Cabrera with 2 on.
And he's got an even count with Michael Cuddyer, 1 ball and 1 strike. And it's really been the emergence of Phil Hughes that gives the Yankees this triple-headed monster at the end of the ball games. Jabba Chamberlain, Hughes, and of course Mariano Rivera.
Well, the whole key for any kind of bullpen is you have a bridge to your closer, and they have it now with Chamberlain, Koch, and Mr. Hughes.
Defensive swing from Cuddyer at 94 miles an hour. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, they were contemplating sending Hughes back to the minor leagues. He threw 8 shutout innings against the Texas ball club. And they said, what are we going to do? He's done everything you want him to do in the minor leagues. We have to keep him here somehow, some way. They thought maybe he'd do some long relief, but he proved vital in this role coming in late in ball games.
He pops Cuddyer up to shallow right field. Cano drifts back. And why are we tied? The Twins had a big base running mistake that cost them the first run of this game.
Well, it's too bad because Tolbert, the third baseman, with the base hit. See Gomez slip around second, swisher to Jeter for the tag play. Dolman Young hustling in, but Gomez tagged before Young scores. Rules of baseball, the run does not count. Even A.J. Burnett wasn't sure if it didn't count or not, and saved him an earned run.
So Delman Young bats. He has struck out. He's been hit by a pitch. He's walked, stolen a base, and he has scored the lone Twins run. Again, as Ron Gardenhire said, can't make mistakes against this club in this park and expect to win.
But they showed a lot of moxie coming back, and of course Harris getting that big pinch hit for Tolbert, who left the game, Chip.
Popped up right side. That's out of play. The word from the Minnesota clubhouse, it's a left oblique problem for Tolbert.
Yeah, we were wondering why after a base hit he would be hit for by Harris, but now we know, and it paid off for Ron Gardenhire and his Twins.
Their bench has been very productive. It was tonight. Now the regulars have to step up.
It's which bullpen blinks first is the game now. Shake your head, fastball away. The people are always asking, why does the catcher shake his head? Well, his main pitch is a fastball. Hughes is going to throw it 85% of the time. So Posada will shake his head so it'll look like Hughes is trying to signal that he doesn't want the fastball. He wants to get to the breaking pitch. Little games that catchers and pitchers play against the hitter. Boy, Jorge put the curveball down. Hughes started his motion and maybe thought better of it. Wants another pitch. Wanted the slider instead.
And it was perfectly placed. That's his first strikeout of the game. 2 outs.
Again, that's just the point of backing off, showing the maturation of a young pitcher. Did not feel that the curveball was the right pitch. He wanted to be 100% behind the right pitch, and that was the slider for him.
Yeah, that's something Joe Girardi has also said to us. The catcher's really a suggestion box. If the pitcher doesn't have conviction, don't throw it.
Absolutely. I think what happens, though, for the poor catching brethren, that I used to be a pitcher a long 100 years ago, is that some pitchers, not the solid ones, not the good ones, not the great ones. Sometimes its catcher can be an alibi Ike for him. If he doesn't make the pitch, blame it on the catcher. Bad way to be.
Popped up foul by Carlos Gomez. He was the man that slipped around the second base bag. That's going to happen. What was the mistake on that play for Gomez?
Well, the mistake was not slipping. That happens. He should have known, though, even with all his speed, no way to go from first to third. And once he slipped and fell, proceed to third base, get in a run down, at least the run will score.
He didn't. It didn't. And we're tied at 1.
That's the trouble with the postseason. As the crowd here in Yankee Stadium gets up. Plenty of heroes. There's always a few goats. Just a show me pitch from Hughes, just trying to catch a tiny piece of that outside edge.
And then he buzzes him inside. And that fills up the count. Posada out to talk about that as the count now moves to 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, he just wants to relax him there. It happens to all young pitchers. You get to 2-2 and you're trying to throw a ball 100 miles an hour. Remember, location always more important than how hard you throw it.
And a fast runner aboard with 2 outs. First walk of the night for Hughes. And now Brandon Harris is the hitter. He tripled home Delman Young over the outstretched glove of Johnny Damon back in the 6th inning.
And he'd be a hero twice. How many times have you seen it? A guy leaves with an injury unexpectedly. Guy takes his position. Next thing you know, he's the hero of the game. A chance for Harris here, but Gomez has to be thinking, wanting, and has to get second base.
Gomez stole 14 bags in regular season play, and he's got a very big lead. Now another half step.
Little thumb throw over. Gomez at this point is a work in progress, but has such outstanding speed that sometimes he doesn't have to get a great jump. There's Tony Pena with the signs. I'll tell you, if he was throwing behind there, he'd be a little more prudent in whether you're going to go or not.
Well,
Pena had amazing arm.
What has Jim Leland said? He'll take talent over experience anytime. Let's see if it pays off for Minnesota here. Swing and a miss. No balls and a strike.
On a 3-1 count from A.J. Burnett in the 6th, A.J. decided to challenge Brendan Harris. Left the ball in the middle part of the plate. Johnny couldn't catch it in the left field. Johnny Damon. And that triple by Harris scored Delman Young for the only run of the game for the Twins.
Again, Minnesota 10th in the American League in regular season play in stolen bases. And an 0-1 count to Brendan Harris. Runners going. Good jump. Line drive right field. Base hit. They try to deke him around second. It doesn't work. Minnesota's got him at first and third as Swisher hustles the ball back in to Mark Teixeira. So Harris 2 for 2 for the Minnesota Twins, who have runners at the corners with 2 men out.
Boy, nice hitting by Brendan Harris. That's a good pitch by Hughes. Down and away, down in the strike zone, goes the other way. And watch the speed of Gomez. He's so fast that Swisher is thinking of throwing a second. He decides to throw it to Teixeira at first to make sure that they did not try to steal a run. Look at Swisher's first play is to go to second base and thought better of it and goes to Teixeira. Get it on the way home.
So the entire Yankee infield will gather on the pitcher's mound as Nick Punto will hit with runners at first and third for Minnesota, trying to wrest the lead right back in game 2 of this series.
Well, awful lot of respect here, Gardenhire, for Punto. leaving him up in this big circumstance. Awful lot of respect for Joe Girardi, a former catcher himself, letting all the catching signs go to Tony Pena. Good things to see.
A-Rod even with the bag at third. Teixeira holds Harris at first.
Alex Rodriguez at third base has to respect the bunt of Punto, so he's playing even with the bag. Hughes chooses to pitch away. Chance of Punto to try to slap one past Alex.
1 ball, 1 strike. Just missed, up and away. 2 balls and a strike now.
You hear this crowd totally into the game. They've been watching the game. The couple strikes against Cabrera that were called by Merriweather, they want the same strike zone, or so they see, from Chuck to Phil Hughes.
Now it's Punto's turn to complain. He said that ball's off. Was it? 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Punto knows his strike zone. Couple both ways, back and forth.
So those calls are even, and so's the count. He'll live to see another pitch. A 2-out walk to Carlos Gomez. Then a base hit by Brendan Harris has Hughes in 8th inning trouble.
Punto now with 2 strikes. Alex Rodriguez has been able to move back at third base. Gives him a little more room to make a play if Punto tries to slap one.
Breaking ball, fly ball, center field. It'll drop for a hit. And Nick Punto comes through with 2 outs. And the 2-out 8th inning walk comes home to roost as Minnesota has retaken the lead.
Well, interesting choice from Hughes. Been throwing all fastballs away. Decides to throw the backdoor curveball. And Punto gave you a professional at bat, something you see almost all the time from Nick. And the reaction from the dugout, of course. Big hit there by Punto. And Gomez amending for the mistake earlier in the game.
2-1 Minnesota has the 8th inning lead. A disappointing outing for Philip Hughes. Mariano Rivera tries to put out an 8th inning fire at Yankee Stadium next. The RBI hits for the Minnesota Twins, Ron Darling, tonight have come from their number 8 and number 9 hitters as Minnesota leads by a 1-run score.
Well, Hughes and Posada decide to go with the breaking ball, just playing pepper with it as Nick Punto to put the Twins ahead. Gomez, who had the blunder, base running blunder earlier in the game, amends for it with scoring the go-ahead run. Tough outing for Hughes. A little glimpse of a smile for Gomez. Punto is a in the dirt, dirty uniform kind of player.
What did Ron Gardenhire say? The ultimate compliment you can give anyone on his team is they're a ball player. And Punto personifies that as Mariano Rivera now trying to take care of Denard Span and keep this a 1-run deficit for New York. First and second, 2 outs. And a quick strike to the Twins leadoff man.
Well, all the numbers for Rivera point towards the Hall of Fame, but in his postseason career, opposition's 3 for 50 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. So times get the toughest, he gets tougher.
Fisted towards second and in for a hit. Here comes Harris around third. He's going to score, and Minnesota has a 3-1 lead. Can you believe that?
Well, Span now has 3 hits in this series and his first RBI. That ball in the middle of the plate, up in the strike zone. Nice hitting to get that past Cano. And Gardy pushing all the right buttons so far tonight.
The Twins have yet to win a game in this ballpark this year. They had struggled with runners in scoring position all year against the Yankees. They struggled in game 1 of this series on Wednesday night. But tonight the Twins are coming through with big hits. They're 4 for 7 with runners at second base or third base tonight, and lead by a 3-1 score. And the key to the inning, a 2-out walk. There's no defense from the manager's chair for a free pass. Orlando Cabrera straightened up inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Keep in mind, though, with all the thunder coming up for the Yankees in their half of the 8th inning, New York has 36 come from behind wins at home. That was in regular season play. And a swing and a miss retires the side. A 2-out walk to Carlos Gomez. A hit to Brendan Harris. Nick Punto a single to center. And Denard Span rifles a hit off Mariano Rivera to give the Twins a 3-1 lead. Middle of the 8th inning. Well, Ron Darling, a couple of innings ago you said this game may be decided by the bullpen that blinks first. Right now it's the Yankees. As Matt Guerrero comes on for the bottom of the 8th inning, Jorge Posada will start it off. A 3-1 Minnesota lead. They score twice in the top half of this 8th inning.
Well, nice start there with that curveball by Guerrero. 80 games now he's appeared in this season. His last, though, appearance on Tuesday night in Minnesota gave up that home run to Ordonez to tie the ball game 4-4. But he's been an outstanding bridge with 5 wins for this Minnesota Twins team all season long.
When you think of the bridge, you think of the end of that bridge, and that's Joe Nathan. He's the man that is hoping to finish off this game for the Twins. But first things first, Posada, Jeter, and Damon the first 3. As Jorge behind in the count now, a ball and 2 strikes. He came on defensively after his first at bat in the 6th inning of this game. Jose Molina started with A.J. Burnett, who was effectively wild. He walked 5, hit 2, struck out 6, and gave up 1 run in 6 innings.
Well, both starting pitchers were outstanding tonight.
Nick Blackburn, 1 run, 3 hits, and 5 2/3 in his first postseason assignment. And a slow curveball takes care of Posada. 1 out in the Yankees' 8th.
Well, we saw this pitch earlier in the game with A.J. Burnett, who used it to perfection. This one a little slower than Burnett's, but the same kind of action on that outside part. Posada saw it outside. Chuck Merriweather saw that bending around the plate.
Here's Derek Jeter. His 1-out double in the 6th inning led to the only New York run tonight. And what a difference. Strike 1.
Well, I think that's one thing that the Twins definitely have done better than the Yankees tonight. It's been that strike one from Blackburn on down.
Career 6'3", 195 pounds, lives in Birmingham, Alabama, acquired off waivers from the Pirates at the end of the 2003 season. And chop, diving play by Harris, scrambles to his feet and throws a bullet to first. What a play. What did you say? Sometimes the subs turn into the stars.
Brendan Harris, who had to come in the pinch hit for Matt Tolbert, makes this beautiful play down the line with the leaping stop. Harris, who can play second base, short, and third base, and a nice play on the other end by Michael Kadire. Boy, he's way off that line and still able to make that play on Jeter.
So 2 outs, bases clear for Johnny Damon. And a little high, ball 1. Damon tonight 0 for 2, but does have a base on balls.
They throw strikes, they make plays, and it's resulted in 5 Central titles in 8 years. Minnesota baseball.
Fundamental baseball. And a pop up over the Yankee dugout. And out of play, 1 ball and 1 strike. Minnesota this year, 76 errors. That's tied for the fewest in the American League in the regular season. They issued 466 walks in 163 games. That's the least allowed by their pitching staffs. And so far, the game plan has worked to perfection for Ron Gardenhire's club. Two and two. Damon not sure about that.
Well, the pitch up and away has been a pitch that Merriweather is calling. He's been consistent that he will call it. And you saw Mauer with that good jerking of the glove back into the strike zone, maybe stealing a pitch for Guerrero and the Twins.
Broken bat roller hit out towards second. Punto's got it, and we are headed to the 9th inning in New York. Minnesota leads the Yankees 3-1. A spectacular play by Brendan Harris. The beauty tonight for Minnesota. Minnesota trying to wrest home field advantage away from the Yankees. Leads 3-1 in the top of the 9th inning in Game 2 of this American League Division Series in the Bronx. Joe Mauer starts things off for Minnesota. Tonight, the Twins catcher is 1 for 2. A 7th inning single. He struck out looking in the 3rd and has walked twice.
That is the first big swing I've seen from Joe Mauer. Maybe thinking of trying to take Rivera deep, which hardly ever happens.
Well, with Teixeira, Rodriguez, and Matsui up in the bottom of the 9th inning, Minnesota thinking a little insurance would be awfully nice, but that devastating cut fastball lying in wait from Mariano Rivera.
It's almost like he has it on the string, isn't it? Can throw it right in the corner. Once he gets ahead, he'll throw it 2 or 3 inches inside. In the postseason, Rivera has given up no home runs to left-handed hitters and 233 at-bats.
And he just made an excellent hitter strike out. 1 out in the 9th inning as we check in our Atlanta studios. Ernie Johnson standing by.
All right, thank you, Chip Chase. Game break, a very quiet opener for Big Papi and the Red Sox. Shut out by the Angels for the first time in 70 postseason games. The big blow of the night delivered by that man, Torrey Hunter. A 3-run shot and a 5-0 win. Game 2 comes your way in about 15 minutes right here on TBS.
I like it, EJ. Looking forward to seeing the Red Sox and the Halos after the Yankees and Twins wrap up Game 2 tonight. Kubo looking to make a little contact. He's 0 for 8 so far in the postseason with 5 strikeouts.
It's not the right person to stop the streak on, though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you're struggling. It's only Mariano Rivera. As he belts that ball foul and well out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hitters have told us before about Mariano, the most frustrating thing besides his obvious Hall of Fame talent, you know what's coming and you still can do very little with that cutter.
Well, it's almost an optical illusion. You can see where it is when you start your swing, and then it just runs up the handle of your bat. And every hitter has the same approach. They have a split second to see where the ball is, to pick up the speed or spin, and as soon as they figure out where it's going to be, that's how they take their approach. With Rivera, it's so late. As soon as they make that decision, it's like the Autobahn when a BMW changes lanes on you sometimes.
That's over the outside corner. 3rd strikeout in a row for Mariano Rivera after the Denard Span 8th inning hit. And yes, I got the shameless plug. 2 outs, bases clear, 9th inning.
It was shameless, yes.
And you know who's lying in wait for the bottom half of this frame? That's Joe Nathan, the Twins closer. Kadire tonight is 1 for 4, a blue pit to right in his first at bat back in the 2nd inning. So Kadire 2 for 8 with an RBI so far in the series. Off the end of his bat and back to the screen. Kadire set up now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good battle here in the 9th inning. Burnett, Chamberlain, Koch, Hughes, and Mariano Rivera for the Yankees. A big insurance run driven home by Span in the 8th. That ball flipped down the right field line. Long run. Swisher can't get there. He'll play it on a hop. So Kadire just pokes a ball safely down the right field line to keep this 9th inning alive for the Twins.
Well, he's got a couple hits to right field as Kadire is trying to take that approach. But watch defensively. Nice choice here by Swisher. See, he's coming on, has a shot at this baseball, but decides in this circumstance better to hold Kadire to a single, hold him on first base instead of trying to go for the dive and maybe not coming up with that play, and Kadire proceeds around the bases. Smart defensive play there by Nick Swisher.
So Delman Young now up there. He struck out twice. He scored a run. The Yankees play him straight away and deep in the outfield. That's high and tight. 1 ball, no strikes. To left fielder Delman Young.
Teixeira 6 stolen bases during the regular season, only thrown out once. He would like to get in scoring position. And Mariano knows that.
It'll be Joe Nathan in the bottom of this 9th inning for Minnesota. The only question is, how big will his lead be? And he has a very tough trio to face. Teixeira, Rodriguez, and Matsui. Ball too high.
Well, for all of you that are out there that say that closers have an easy job, try that trio on for size.
Two balls, no strikes. Cuddyer at first. Twins looking for a little insurance. Rivera paying an awful lot of attention to Michael Cuddyer here in this 9th. Minnesota won 17 of 21. And trying to even this series tonight. Fisted back over the screen, out of play. Delman Young now in a 2-2 count.
Delman's one of those hitters, when you look at him, he'll go a few at bats in a streak of not getting any hits, but you never feel like he's not dangerous up there at the plate.
He had 12 homers in the regular season. And a fly ball into right center field. Swisher coming on, has to hurry and makes a sliding grab. Joe Nathan, here's your cue.
Bottom of the hour. Once the Twins and Yankees are done, we'll bring the Red Sox and Angels back over to TBS. Now, back to New York.
Thank you very much, Ernie Johnson. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And all-star Joe Nathan is on to finish off the game for the Twins. 3-1 is your score with Teixeira, Rodriguez, and Matsui coming up.
Well, Nathan has Mariano Rivera type numbers: 47 saves, 89 strikeouts, and only 68 2/3 innings pitched. Only given up 42 hits in those innings. The New York Yankees this year, 25 wins in their last at bat at home. That ties the Major League record that happened in 1959 with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And with all the thunder coming up, Teixeira is a critically important man for Nathan to retire in a 2-run game. Teixeira has popped up 3 times tonight. Is 0 for 7 in the series. And a line drive into the right field corner. Leadoff man on for the Yankees. Teixeira A clean single to right.
Well, Teixeira is a clutch performer. Gets a fastball in the middle of the plate. And a linea down the right field line. Span playing very deep. He's able to cut that off before it hits the wall, holding Teixeira to a single.
The Yankees beat Joe Nathan here in New York on May the 15th. He allowed 3 runs, 3 hits in 2/3 of an inning, and 2 walks. And now, Alex Rodriguez represents the tying run.
Got a stop by Mauer. Well, Nathan has been outstanding all season long. He has not allowed a home run with a runner on base this season.
Two balls, no strikes. According to the Twins postseason media guide, Nathan has really struggled too in division series play. 6 games, no wins, 2 losses, 5 earned runs in 6 innings. Straight out of the strike zone.
Well, very interesting pitch selection from Nathan. He's throwing a curveball in the dirt, 2 sliders, maybe sensing that A-Rod is the person he does not want to face. Be interesting to see the 3-0 pitch here. Can't pitch around a batter at this point, not if you're the closer.
And not with the left-hand hitting Matsui on deck, representing the potential winning run if A-Rod reaches. Remember, in May, the Yankees had 3 walk-off wins in a row against this Minnesota ball club. A stretch of play that Joe Girardi told us was one of the biggest turning points of this Yankee season. 15 walk-off wins for New York this year.
What it does to a ball club, Chip, is that it lets you feel as though you are never out of a ball game. And you can sense it here.
Fly ball center field. Well hit. At the track. He's done it again.
Fastball gets the middle of the plate. Watch A-Rod's reaction as he hits this one out. Lets the bench know. I got it. Don't worry. That one's out here.
There's bedlam in the Bronx as Alex Rodriguez, a new man in 2009, has tied this game in the 9th inning and nobody out. It's the first homer allowed by Nathan this year with anybody on base.
Outs are a little tougher in October and November, Chip.
And how big are 12 runners left on base for the Twins offensively. And now that run they didn't get in the 4th inning. And now Matsui, still nobody out. And Nathan has not been close. One ball, one strike. It just makes you wonder if the ghosts have crossed the street. Popped up. Left side of the infield. Brendan Harris camps out.
Well, you can see he gets full extension on that fastball. The thing about Alex Rodriguez, when he's right, there's no ballpark. I don't care right field, right center, or left center. But he can't hit the ball out of him. Curtain call in October in postseason. Not a lot of those for A-Rod.
But 5 runs batted in this series already. New stadium, new dynasty, new postseason year for Alex Rodriguez. Here's Nick Swisher. He takes a strike. Swisher wrapped up the Twins' top of this inning with a sliding catch that ended that frame.
Joe Nathan must not like his fastball tonight. Majority of pitches, sliders and curveballs.
Teixeira led off with a hit. Alex Rodriguez put one in the Yankee bullpen to tie it up here in the 9th. Fly ball, center field, pretty well hit, but playable on the track. Gomez tracks it down. Swisher hit that one very, very well, but 2 outs.
Well, the difference with that is that this fastball, again, right down the middle, like it was to Alex Rodriguez. The difference was Swisher hit more of a line drive there, not able to carry out in this ballpark.
Two in, 2 out for Robinson Cano, who's 1 for 3. The Twins have led in every game they have played in this ballpark this year. Regular season, postseason. They have yet to win at New Yankee Stadium. Slap toward short. And Cabrera to a knee makes sure And that retires the side. A curtain call for Alex Rodriguez. A mammoth home run into the Yankee pen in right center. Ties the game 3-3. We go to the 10th inning. Bright lights, big city here in New York. We've played 9 innings. Nothing decided yet. 3-3 our score. Top of the 10th. And we're in extra innings because A-Rod connected.
Well, he's enjoying this postseason nicely so far in 2009. 2-run home run to tie it. A bomb to right center. Exultation. That's a fist bump with Mick Kelleher and Jeter. Can't get a smile like that. Can't buy one like that.
So much postseason misery in recent years for Alex Rodriguez, but no problem so far against Minnesota.
Well, he's been a Twin killer. 2004 hit .421 against this Twins team. Totally different team, of course, but same kind of numbers.
So to the 10th we go. Alfredo Aceves is on in the Yankee bullpen.
Well, Aceves reminds me of Ramiro Mendoza in the days in the 90s for those great Yankee teams. He got a start this year, but he was so valuable in the bullpen, they had to keep him out there, and he's been their good luck charm. See that 10-1 record.
Late swing and a foul ball into the Yankees dugout.
There always seems to be one guy in that bullpen. When he's brought in, he ends up getting the win, and that's been Aceves this year for the Yankees.
Yeah, years ago there was a major league pitcher by the name of Phil Regan whose nickname was the Vulture. He'd just hang around, come in late in the game, his club would score a run and he'd pick up a win. And a bunt attempt by Gomez, back to the screen, 0-2.
Nathan and Pavano there on the bench, two guys that have not fared well in the Bronx.
Outside corner. One man down.
Good curveball here from Aceves, who has 4 pitches. That's what makes him so effective when he comes in. Also has a rubber arm, the kind of guy that if you're stuck in a extra inning game, you can keep him out there for 2, 3, 4 innings.
12 strikeouts of Minnesota hitters in tonight's game. There were also 12 in game 1. For the Yankee staff, power arms play well in postseason. Here's Brendan Harris off the bench. He's been outstanding. Matt Tolbert left with an oblique problem. Tolbert's come on and has tripled home a run. He's singled and has scored and made a spectacular defensive play at third base. Fly ball center field, playable for Melky Cabrera. Nick Punto, the last Minnesota hope. And a beautiful piece of hitting in the 8th inning against Phil Hughes. His RBI single scored Carlos Gomez with what was then the go-ahead run for the Twins. Denard Span then follow with a hit off Mariano Rivera to chase home Harris. And that gave Minnesota a 3-1 advantage. But the Twins have left a runner on base in every offensive inning so far tonight. That nearly took out Denard Span in the on-deck circle. Another quality at bat by Nick Punto here. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Punto, not a lot of power, hit 1 home run this year. Two-out walk. That cost Phil Hughes dearly in the 8th. Can Minnesota, with the top of its order, chase around Nick Punto and give Ron Gardenhire's team the lead again?
Well, Span does not have a lot of power, so Punto is going to try to take this bag off Aceves and the Yankees. He's 10 for 10 this season in stolen bases from the 7th inning on, so steals them when you need him most.
He doesn't go on the first pitch, and that's pulled foul for a strike. Way outside. 1-1 your count.
Nice solid lead here from Punto on the leadoff line there at first base. The counter, the throw over by Aceves. Punto really faked his last pitch to Span to go. Did not get the jump. Good pitch to steal on. Change up.
Not going. And the pitch missed. 2 balls and a strike. Damaso Marte, a left-hander up in the Yankee pen. You've got Cabrera next. Then lurking is Joe Mauer. Outfield very deep.
Again, keeping him close. Problem you run into with relief pitchers here is Punto's going to take some time to mark out his line again and where he wants to get that maximum lead. So you're paying a lot of attention to Punto. It's a 2-1 count to Span. You anticipate he's going to get a good pitch to hit.
A-Rod off the line at third. 2 balls and a strike. Good cut. Two and two. 2 outs. 3-3 game, 10th inning. Runner goes. Pitch lined into right field, a base hit. And again, Minnesota has them at first and third with 2 out. Sounds familiar. Same pattern that took place in the 8th inning.
Well, that'll make your manager pace. That'll make your closer put his lid back on. With 2 outs here, Aceves trying to get through the inning. Little change up away. Nice hitting by Span. And of course, with 2 outs, you don't have to find out where the ball. Just all you have to do is hear the crack of the bat. Then proceed on to third and pick up your coach. Just over the reach of Cano. And Punto hustling, of course. That look back over the shoulder has become commonplace now in today's game. Number 24, who played here in New York, started that. To say, hey, kid. But he could do just about anything he wanted to do.
And now Orlando Cabrera, 2 out of 3 in his career, including the postseason against Aceves. We'll look for another big 2-out hit for the Twins. Go ahead run 90 feet away in the 10th inning. 3-3 score. Orlando tonight is 0 for 4 with a walk. And where does he like to hit the ball?
Well, he likes to spray it all over the field, as you'll see the hit chart from Orlando Cabrera. 69 to left field, 39 and 63. So he can go to the right field also. After game 163, he said he was Ron Gardenhire and the Minnesota Twins' lucky charm.
Fisted straight back. Aceves challenged him with a heater. 0-2.
We've already seen Aceves bounce a couple pitches already. Punto at third base has got to be alive for anything that might get away from Jorge Posada.
Posada had a couple of passed balls on Wednesday, you might recall. And now the 0-2 pitch. Fly ball softly hit to right and playable. Bottom of the 10th inning. This American League Division Series coverage on TBS has been presented by BlackBerry. And I bet you folks all around the country are texting crazily tonight. What a ball game. 3-3 the score. Yankees up for the bottom of the 10th inning. And here's how it's happened. Our game summary brought to you by Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympic Games in stores October 13th.
Well, nice job by the starting pitchers, both Blackburn and Burnett. You can see their numbers. Rodriguez with that big home run in the bottom of the 9th inning to tie this game with 3-3. Twins got a lot of production down in their lineup, not a lot in the middle of their lineup. And Destiny's child has been this Yankee team this season.
And now they can win it in the 10th inning. Melky Cabrera will start it off. Then it's Posada. Then it's Jeter. And the first game played between these clubs this year, it was Melky Cabrera with a 2-run bases loaded single that beat Joe Nathan and the Twins 5-4. And he has been Mr. Walk-Off. He's done that 3 times for them this year. Hot shot to short. Oh, it ain't Cabrera alive, but he hung with it. What a play.
Well, we sat in Joe Girardi's office and we talked about hot shot off the side of the mound. Nice play by Cabrera. Made it look easy. Very difficult play. Talked to Joe Girardi today about Jose Molina starting this ball game, and his line to us was, hey, listen, Jorge at some point in this game might have the most important at bat we need.
And it's the oldest cliche in sports. Not how you start, but how you finish. Posada didn't start, wasn't happy about it. Jose Molina got the assignment for A.J. Burnett. But once A.J. left the game, Posada came into the game, and this is his third at bat.
Both prior at bats, first pitch, breaking pitch from Minnesota pitchers. One more.
Broken bat fly ball into shallow center field. That'll drop. So Posada is aboard, and the Yankees will go to their bench. Brett Gardner.
Well, Nathan made a nice pitch, but nice job by Posada. Feeling that ball out to center field. No chance for Gomez to catch it, and the Yankees now with Posada's base hit have their secret weapon. Brett Gardner coming in to pinch run.
Gardner this year stole 26 bases in 31 tries, that in only 108 games. So you know it'll be on the mind of New York with one out and Jeter at the plate.
Well, Rick Anderson's going to come out to talk to Joe Nathan, but I don't know if there's any weapon that he can use against Brett Gardner stealing bases. Last 4 seasons, opposition has been 19 for 19 in stealing bases off Joe Nathan. You've got Gardner who can run. You've got Jeter who can hit it the other way. Deadly combo here for Joe Nathan.
Opponents 19 for their last 19 in steals against Nathan the last 4 years. And Brett Gardner, according to the Yankee press notes, third rookie in the last 50 years since 1960 to steal at least 26 bases in a year. Soriano did it, and Willie Randolph did it. Craig Sager.
Well, when you roll as a pinch runner, how do you prepare for a situation like this? The last 2 innings, Brett Gardner has been underneath the stadium in the batting cages doing sprints back and forth. You want to be like a track star, you have to warm up before you sprint.
All right, Craig, thank you very much. Derek Jeter, a spark plug in the 6th inning, a one-out double. He came around and scored the first New York run.
Well, there's a lot of things in baseball that put a lot of pressure on a young player. I don't know how it could be any more pressure than to be a pinch runner. You're a young player, and your goal is that you have to steal a base cold.
He has a terrific lead. 1 ball, no strikes.
You see those runners, and they clear the dirt around that base. They want to make sure that their hand can get all the way to the base. It builds up that dirt. After a while, you can slip right over the top of the base with that slide back.
Gardner started for the Yankees on opening day on April the 6th. And has another quarter step on that lead from first. Ball 2.
Jeter, the veteran that he is, giving the opportunity to Gardner to steal, has taken these first 2 pitches off the plate.
Gardner missed a couple of games in mid to late May, a bruised right shoulder. Was hurt on May 17th when Joe Mauer tagged him out at the plate. That might come into play here in this 10th inning. He's going. Good jump. Mauer's throw sails and no chance.
Well, no place to go for Joe Mauer. Not only does he get a pretty good jump, but this young man can fly. We're talking about track speed fly. Mauer's throw a little up the line and high. Good play by Cabrera and trying the little deke there.
And what patience by Jeter to work the count into his favor, and now Gardner in scoring position with one out. The mound may be the loneliest place in the world for Joe Nathan.
Well, he's going to be very careful here with the base open. Damon up next. All you have to do is watch the last 15 seasons of postseason baseball. You know what this guy can do when the heat is on.
Cabrera playing hide and seek. Pickoff play, and he throws it into center field. Gardner's going to try for third. Here's the throw. It's off target.
The play was there. Cabrera was right, but he's trying to do it with a closer who never does those kind of things. If you have a starter, they're used to maybe making that pick off the second. In the biggest heat of the moment, Nathan has no chance, no turn, not a full circle to try to make that play. And with the stumble, Gardner's still with that speed, able to get to third base. Jeter thought that Gardner was definitely going to be out with the stumble. And Nathan, too many mistakes in these last couple of innings.
So now Minnesota no choice but to put Jeter on and hope for a double play.
Shake of the head by Rick Anderson.
A continuing theme has been for Minnesota in this ballpark against the Yankees at the old stadium and the new stadium. Mistakes kill you, and Minnesota has made a couple of gigantic ones tonight. So Joe Nathan cannot close the game in the ninth and leaves with two Yankee runners aboard with only one out in game 2 and this 10th inning. Not only Ronnie is the mound will only place, that Minnesota bench will only place for Joe Nathan, whose division series struggles continued in tonight's game 2.
Well, Gardner was getting a big lead, and to tell you the truth, Cabrera had the right play. The problem is you have a closer, probably hasn't done that all season long. You have to jump and make that full circle so you're facing second base. Nathan didn't do it. Play's not even close. The slip by Gardner, but that track speed gets him to third base in time.
So let's see how Minnesota's outfield sets up now with Mijares on to pitch for Minnesota.
Well, they're as shallow as you can get for a guy with the home runs that Damon has.
Damon has been held in check. He's 0 for 3 with a walk.
Again, the infield up the middle as Mijares comes in. They're at double play depth, but they're also a little shallower. Just in case they get a slow hopper, they will have a chance at a play at the plate, albeit with Gardner running at third.
2 balls, no strikes. Joe Nathan, 1 inning and 1/3, 3 hits. An intentional walk, 2 runs. Gardner, his responsibility at third. He came on a pinch run for Jorge Posada. He broke his bat but singled.
At home, you're thinking to Maharis, how can you not throw a strike there, 2-0? It's not the worst thing that could happen. You cannot give in to Damon. You cannot give him a good pitch to hit. The worst thing that happens, Damon walks, and you have the same opportunity with a slower Teixeira to get out of the inning.
Three balls and a strike. The impact of Brett Gardner. Not only the speed, but the threat of his speed has loomed very large tonight. Popped up, but that will reach the seats. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Good pitch by Maharis. Just jammed Johnny Damon enough.
If we get to an 11th inning, Ron Gardenhire will have Joe Mauer to lead it off.
Last thing he's thinking about right now.
No question. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Lined, caught, and the throw to third is a double play. What do we say about deja vu all over again? Remember the Tigers in game 163. Brett Gardner broke, and the Yankees are doubled up in the 10th inning. Can you believe it again? Well, we like to expect the unexpected on TBS, and I don't think anybody in this ballpark expected Brett Gardner to be doubled off to send this game to an 11th inning. A huge break for Ron Gardenhire's Twins.
Well, your thought if you're Gardner is that you have to freeze on a line drive. The problem is he thought that tipped the glove of the pitcher, Maharis, off the bat of Johnny Damon. Line drive up the middle to the shortstop Cabrera, but Gardner, whenever the ball is hit, any kind of line drive you freeze, because if it had been up the middle, he would have scored easily.
So Brett takes over in center field. Melky Cabrera moves to left, and Francisco Cervelli, the 3rd Yankee catcher on this roster, will don the gear and work behind the plate in the 11th inning. And Ron Gardenhire wasn't thinking about Joe Mauer a moment ago. He's thinking about him right here in this tie game.
Well, he's going to face a tough left-hander who's had a tough year, really. Damaso Marte, back and forth with injuries. When he's at his best, he's a slinging left-hander that makes it very difficult when he faces left-handed hitters. But you can see those numbers extremely high in his limited amount of work.
One ball, no strikes to the Twins catcher, Joe Mauer. They've pitched him very carefully, and tonight pretty effectively, too. They've struck him out twice, walked him twice, but Joe does have a 7th inning hit.
Boy, what an inning he set up there, Gardner, and he's got to be wondering, how did it go so wrong?
Fly ball down the left field line. That ball slicing, and it is a foul ball just out of reach of Melky Cabrera. There's some of that opposite field power you've been talking about for Joe Mauer.
Well, a good breaking ball by Marte, and he gets under it just a bit. There's Joe Mauer, and with that slice on the baseball, that was a fair ball, by the way.
Wow.
Fair ball, not even close. Off the tip of the glove in fair territory, and then lands fair.
Wow. So a huge break for the Yankees. Joe Mauer should be at second base.
And we have the extra umpire. He's standing right on it. Ball bounces 3 or 4 inches fair. And the break they got in the 10th inning goes away for the Minnesota Twins.
That's Phil Cuzzi down the left field line, about 20 feet away from the play, and he just missed it. Now, that is not a reviewable call. It's not a boundary call.
It's not a reviewable call, and you're also maybe asking at home in Minnesota, how come Ron Gardenhire wouldn't be out there? From the dugouts, they cannot see that play.
But I guarantee you somebody's watching this in the clubhouse, and they're going to tell him any second. 1-2 count to Mauer. Back up the middle, and Mauer's aboard with a leadoff single. On Tuesday, game number 163, the Minnesota Twins got a huge base running blunder that may have saved their year.
Baglio Ordonez, the line drive to Cabrera, and gets Granderson, one of the best base runners in baseball, off first base, got Nathan out of trouble. This time Nathan got out of trouble with a different pitcher on the mound, but still Cabrera in the middle of the play.
Leadoff man aboard for Kubel, and he looks inside. Good stab by Cervelli back there. 1 ball, no strikes. Kubel is 0 for 9 in this series. He has struck out 6 times. This is a 103 RBI man this year for Minnesota. Sweeping slider well off the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Rivera's out of the game. Hughes is out of the game. Chamberlain is out of the game for the Yankees bullpen. Can Minnesota even this series? That's off the plate. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, Damaso Marte is one of those pitchers that when he's on, very difficult to hit. When he's off, he tends to throw a lot of balls, a lot of base on balls, and managers start to hang their head a little bit when it comes into the game.
It's the Yankees' turn to ponder a very big mistake. Minnesota trying to overcome their share, trying to overcome a missed call a moment ago. Now, Kubel. Hot shot, base hit right field. Mauer on his way to second, and he will stop there. First and second for Minnesota. 2 on and nobody out. And Joe Girardi has seen enough of Damaso Marte. He's greeted very rudely.
Well, no one needed it more than Kubel, and of course, because of Joe Mauer having to wait for that ball to proceed to right field, he has to stop at second base. If he doesn't, he takes a shot at third.
2 on, nobody out for Minnesota. Game 2 in the Bronx. Well, the good news for Minnesota, they have runners at first and second with nobody out in this 11th inning. The bad news is they probably ought to have them at least first and third.
Well, what could have been? Here's the play from Mauer's bat. Melke over the left field line, hits it with the end of his glove, but it lands fair. Would have been an inside the park double there, ground rule double. And nothing's a secret anymore in television. Here comes Orlando Cabrera, letting know to all the coaches it was a foot fair down the left field line.
Well, when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade, and Mauer did that. A rifled single right up the middle off Damaso Marte. Jason Kubel followed with his first hit of this postseason. Mauer had to stop at second to make sure the ball went through, and now Minnesota in business with 2 men on, nobody out, and a young right-hander, David Robertson, pride of the University of Alabama, is summoned from the Yankee pen.
He had an outstanding year for the Yankees, but had to take some time off in September with a arm injury. Now stuck here in the middle of the postseason.
Yeah, they shut him down for 3 weeks with a stiff elbow. And now he faces Kadire. And a good strike.
Robertson's got excellent control, throws 92 to 94, and a great overhand curveball.
He closed some games down in the SEC, so he's not altogether unfamiliar with tough spots like this one. 2 on, nobody out, 11th inning. There's that pitch you were talking about. Kadire missed it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Can you strand 14 in the top of the 11th inning and still win a ball game? Minnesota's trying to.
It's 14 and counting. Chad Gaudin is the last man listed in the New York bullpen, and he is loosening up. That doesn't mean it's not all hands on deck if need be for New York. 1-2. Breaking ball, base hit up the middle. Here comes Joe Mauer, and he will stop. Bases are loaded with nobody out. 3 straight Minnesota hits.
Well, just like Philip Hughes got hurt with the breaking ball to Nick Punto earlier in the game. Curveball down. Nice hitting, though. Not a bad pitch. Good hitting there by Michael Kadire. It's a right play by Scott Alger, the third base coach. There's no outs. No reason to take a chance there as Joe Girardi comes out and talks to his young pitcher and his infield to see how they're going to defend here with the bases loaded and nobody out.
So a world of opportunities now for Minnesota. Delman Young is the batter. He's 0 for 7 in the series.
Robertson likes his fastball. If the scouting report the Twins have gotten, they should know that. Delman Young, a good first ball fastball hitter. Power against power.
Line drive caught by Teixeira, and good base running for Minnesota. 1 out.
And I was wrong with the Robertson counter. He countered with a breaking ball, but Young still hit that ball extremely hard on first pitch. Nice play by Teixeira. Right in the right place. A foot either way. And that's a base hit for the Twins. This time the Twins freeze on a line drive.
Lesson learned well. But now a ground ball potentially could send this thing to the bottom of the 11th inning, still tied. But a very fast runner in the batter's box and no place to put Carlos Gomez, who scored in the 8th.
Gomez, who made a mistake earlier in the game that cost the Twins a run, then scored the go-ahead run later in the game, now has a chance for double redemption.
Infield in. Chopper hit toward Teixeira. He's coming home. There's 1, and that's all they get. With the bases loaded and nobody out, Delman Young and Carlos Gomez swing at the first pitch. Now they're loaded and 2 out.
This is barely just a swing here by Gomez. It's almost like he was fooled. And kind of half swing to Teixeira, who makes the fine play, makes sure of that out. And nice play by Cervelli. Does not take a chance at the double play. With that base runner running up to first, that's a dangerous play, and decides to take the sure out and give his pitcher a chance to get out of this bases loaded with 2 outs.
And how many times have you seen it? One team loads the bases, doesn't score, their opponent scores the next half inning. Can Brendan Harris make something of bases loaded? 2 outs now in the 11th.
Harris with a triple and a single in the game tonight. RBI and a run as he took over for Tolbert. Has been the hitting hero for these Twins.
And how big is the Phil Cuzzy non-call looking right now for Minnesota? A ball, 1 strike. Alex Rodriguez about 15 feet off that third base line. A lot of room between him and the chalk line.
Well, we've already seen not only pull the ball to left center for a triple, we've also seen Harris hit that ball to right field if you stay away.
Fly ball, center field. Gardner is under it. The New York Yankees pitch out of a bases loaded, nobody out in the 11th inning. Somehow, some way, the Yankees dodged a gigantic bullet in the 11th inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. A line drive out to first, a ground ball out to first, and a lazy fly ball to center sends it to the bottom of this inning, still tied, and the heart of the Yankee order coming up.
I was wrong with that 14, wasn't I, Chip?
Yeah, add 3 more. Minnesota's left 17 men on base, at least 1 in each and every inning tonight. They were ready, they were rested. And this has been a great game tonight. Here's Teixeira. His first hit of this postseason came in the 9th inning ahead of Alex Rodriguez's mammoth home run that tied it up at 3.
Well, this is the hit in the 9th inning to start that rally on a 1-0 count. Nice hitting there by Teixeira, and that set up the long home run from Alex.
Two balls and a strike. Driven down the left field line. And it is gone. The Yankees walked off with reckless abandon at home in 2009, and Mark Teixeira walks off with a laser down the left field line.
2-1 cutter inside. Right off the top of that cement, bounds into the fans in left field. And this scene played so often here at the new Yankee Stadium.
For a man that did not have a walk-off hit in regular season play this year, Mark Teixeira completes the trifecta. CC Sabathia, A.J. Burnett, and Mark Teixeira get it done for New York here at Yankee Stadium. With the hero for the Yankees is Craig Sager.
Well, Mark, I know you had your chance of where you wanted to play this year. You chose New York. Is this what it's all about as you look around, 50,000 cheering you to postseason with a walk-off home run?
I don't think there's anything better in sports. I got chills down. I got chills right now. It's the best place to play in the world. These fans are the greatest. This is a good day.
Also, Alex Rodriguez had a great day as well. You got the single in the 9th inning. A-Rod brought in that home run. Here's the two heroes. Alex, why is this team, and you in particular, so relaxed this postseason? You seem to be ready to perform, relaxed, and you're performing so well in this postseason.
Well, I mean, we truly have a great team, and, you know, we love each other, and we come out ready to play every day.
In the 9th inning, Mark got the big single. Then you had the home run. Earlier, you had another hit to drive in a run. What adjustments did you make as you went through the rotation?
Well, I mean, you know, Mark's played like an MVP all year, and him and Jeter have carried us all year. But, you know, tonight we just probably tried to do a little bit too much early on. Then we relaxed and started hitting the ball a little bit better. What is it about playing the Minnesota Twins here? They've had a lead in every game this year, 4 in the regular season, 2 in the postseason, yet you guys come back to win.
Well, yeah, that's just the character of this team. We never give up. We got a great bullpen. We got a lot of guys that hit the ball out of the park. Alex did it tonight, and you know, I got lucky enough to hit a wall scraper. That's just the way we've been playing all year.
What was your reaction when Mark hit the home run?
Well, I have the best seat in the house watching him hit all year long, and it's just been so much fun to watch this guy play. He's tremendous.
Well, congratulations, a grueling victory for the Yankees. Back to you, Chip.
Unbelievable, Craig. Here's another look. Teixeira, as he called it, a wall scraper. And what could have been for Minnesota tonight, ironically enough, also down the left field line.
3 runs, 12 hits, 17 left on for Minnesota, and a game they had to have.
So that's your final. Yankees win game 2, 4-3 your final score in 11 innings. We have an off day in our series tomorrow. We'll join you from the Metrodome for game 3 of the set. Andy Pettitte and Carl Pavano. And now it's off to the West Coast. And the Red Sox and the Angels, Don Orsillo and Buck Martinez at the microphone.